Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was the father of dragons fairy tale. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Ten-Tailed God and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1, The Makings of Family Update. Two teenagers stood before a woman who floated above them within the destroyed remains of a battlefield. The first of this duo wore a white zipped-up high-collared shirt which had a black fan with a red crest above it. The young man also wore dark blue pants which had a purple cloth tied to his waist with a purple belt. He wore a pair of sandals that were attached to his pants. On his back was his sword Kusanagi. He had black hair which stuck up in the back. His eyes were each unique, with his right eye holding a Sharingan, while his left held a Rinnegan. He had a massive bloody hole in the middle of his chest, and was being carried by his friend. His name was Sasuke Uchiha. Carrying Sasuke was his friend Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto had an even stranger appearance compared to Sasuke. Naruto wore a black bodysuit which had a golden circle at his stomach. He wore golden sandals as well as a golden jacket which had a black stylized Rinnegan on the back with 9 tomo and a block formation under it. He had black whisker marks on his face which was glowing gold as well. His hair stood up in a gravity-defying style with 2 parts of his hair sticking up like horns. His eyes were gold with crosses inside them. Sasuke, are you going to be okay? I'm still gonna need you to help me with this. Naruto shouted to his friend in concern. I don't know, Naruto. I don't think I'll be able to last much longer even with our power-up. Sasuke replied weakly. Naruto looked to Sasuke sadly. Sasuke, do you want me to do anything with the amount of time you have left? Sasuke closed his eyes and smiled softly. Naruto, I want you to transplant my Rinnegan into your eye. Then I want you to kick this bitch's ass. Sasuke then opened his eyes and stared at Naruto. Will you fulfill my dying wish, you knucklehead? Yes, Sasuke. I'll do it. Naruto then looked tearfully at his friend. Dobe, why are you crying? I'm crying because I will never be able to bring you back home to Konoha as well as Sakura-chan. Naruto then wiped his eyes with his sleeve. So team, are we doing this then? Sasuke started charging his hand with lightning chakra. Naruto, this will hurt. Sasuke then rushed his hand at Naruto's face and ripped out his eye. Ah. Damn it, Sasuke, that fucking hurt. As he said that, Sasuke then proceeded to rip out his own Rinnegan. Shit! Sasuke screamed out as he ripped out his own eye. Sasuke then pushed his now amputated Rinnegan into Naruto's eye socket. Kurama then began his work and healed Naruto's newly acquired Rinnegan into his optic nerve. Sasuke, I won't betray your gift. I will do what I promised and I never go back on my word. As Naruto said this, tears of blood fell from his Rinnegan. Dobe, don't think of this as a sad moment, since I'll still be able to see the world. You'll just be doing it for me. Sasuke then started to laugh. What are you laughing about, team? Naruto questioned his friend, thinking that Sasuke finally cracked. Oh, I'm just laughing at Kaguya right now. The woman in question stared at Sasuke in an interesting manner. Kaguya wore a white robe which had black tomo emblazoned in a downward line on the front with tomo on the edge of her sleeves. She had long white hair that went past her feet. She had tricloptic eyes, with her 2 normal eyes being the Byakugan, while her third eye was a red mix between a Rinnegan and Sharingan. So, little insect, why are you laughing at me? Is it because you have finally lost all sense of your so-called hope and finally accepted your fate? Kaguya asked in a mocking tone. Sasuke kept chuckling to himself while she said this. No, it's not because of that. The reason I'm laughing is because Naruto is going to kick your ass, and you will still believe that you'll win in the end. To tell the truth, I feel sorry for you because when the day is up you're gonna be lying on the ground questioning how you lost to such an insect like Naruto. Kaguya's eyes narrowed in rage at Sasuke's statement. Suddenly a strand of Kaguya's hair stabbed Sasuke in the heart. URG blood flowed from Sasuke's mouth and he collapsed to the ground. No, Sasuke Kyuin! Yelled out a pink-haired girl in a green flak jacket as she ran towards both of the boys. No, Sasuke, no! Naruto screamed as his best friend fell. Naruto grabbed Sasuke and held him in his lap as Sasuke's blood flowed from his wound. And Naruto, Sakura, I want to say one thing before I died. What is it, Sasuke? Naruto said while crying. Naruto, I have always seen you as my brother. So please do me a favor, from one brother to another, tell your feelings to Hinata. That's my final request for you. Naruto nodded his head in agreement. Sasuke turned his face towards Sakura. Sakura, I want to tell you one thing. What is it, Sasuke-kun? Sakura said with tears in her green eyes. I was never able to tell you this before, but I love you. I love you too, Sasuke-kun. As she said this, her heart started plummeting. Sasuke then stared deep into Sakura's eyes. Sakura, before I go, could I get one kiss from you? The reason is because 1, I would like to die knowing that you love me. The other reason is because I don't want to have my only kiss be with the Dobe over there. As he said this, he shuddered. Sasuke, of course I will. As Sakura said this, she grabbed him by his collar and kissed him deeply. Both showed their love for one another with their first and final act of intimacy with one another. When they finished and caught their breath, Sasuke said a peculiar statement. Best death ever. With that, Sasuke's remaining Sharingan eye turned onyx and closed. Sasuke died with a smile on his face. Naruto's eyes narrowed in rage. He stared at Kaguya in pure hatred, wishing that she would just die. So Naruto, what was it that I heard about you liking a girl? Her name is Hinata, is it not? Kaguya asked Naruto with a grin set upon her face. Yes, so what if it is? Naruto looked at her questioningly. Well, if you do like this girl, how about I introduce her to you? As Kaguya said that, one of the mummified bodies that hung above them was lowered down to Kaguya. The wooden bandage that bound the body unwound and revealed Hinata from within. She had a Rinnegan in her eyes as she fell out of her previous prison's clutches. Kaguya grabbed Hinata and held her. A pretty little thing, isn't she? Maybe I could make her my personal slave. She could probably be a very pleasurable slave if used correctly, but that might make you ma. Shut up! Naruto screamed in rage. Don't you dare touch her, bitch! Oh, so she is precious to you. How about this little brat? If you defeat me, then I'll release all of these people, this girl, and make you the Jubi. All you have to do is beat me. So do you agree to my terms, or do I need to make my point with the girl here? As she said that, a blade of wood grew from Kaguya's sleeve, which she slashed through Hinata's flak jacket and blue shirt. Naruto cringed at how close Hinata was from being cut. Fine, Kaguya, I'll play your game. Naruto relented. Good brat, now it's time to play. Kaguya then launched lightning at Naruto. Naruto then dodged. Nice try, but you need to do better than that. Naruto shouted. Naruto was about to retaliate, but he was brought before the tailed beasts. What the why am I here? Kurama, brat, we brought you here because you need to win. So we decided that we are going to merge with you. Kurama replied. But if you do that, what will happen to you guys? Naruto asked. We will fade Naruto. Gyuki replied. Then you'll become a miniature version of the Jubi, kid. Shikaka shouted. But I don't want to lose you guys as well. Naruto said sadly. Why is it that I've just been losing people today, and on my birthday no less? Tears started coming out of his mismatched eyes. When they were about to fall to the ground, a massive claw wiped them away. Attached to that claw was a furry red arm. That arm was attached to Kurama. Kid, wipe your tears. I will not have my container cry over something as small as this. Where is your annoying optimism that you always have? Are you truly the old man's successor, or was it all a lie? I need you to stick to your belief and beat the old man's bitch of a mother. You got it. Then afterwards you're gonna go to that vixen of yours and have some kids of your own with her. I will accept nothing less. Got it? Kurama then placed his fist above Naruto. The rest of Bija followed suit. I understand, Kurama. And I will miss you when this is over. Naruto then raised his fist to the other Bija's fists. Don't get sappy on me, kid. We're in it for the long run. Now win. Kurama then turned into red chakra and flowed within Naruto. Naruto, defeat Kaguya for being me. Gyuki then turned into chakra and went inside Naruto. Don't fail us, Naruto. Chome disappeared. Make us proud. Saiken went within Naruto. Show them our strength isn't wasted. Koko entered Naruto. Brat, you've got your work cut out for you. But I know you can do this. Son Goku then went within Naruto. Everyone else already said what was needed. Good luck. Isobu went within Naruto. You better survive. Especially for that vixen you've got there. Naruto blushed bright red at what Matatabi said as she disappeared. Kid, kill that annoying bitch Kaguya. Make her pay for what she did to everyone, including Sandbrat. With that, Shikaka disappeared with the rest of the Bija. With that, Naruto looked at his hand. It was glowing white. Soon the glow became so blinding that Naruto couldn't even stare at it anymore. When the glare receded, Naruto emerged from his mindscape. Outside Naruto's mindscape, Kaguya, Sakura, and Kakashi were all blinded by a bright glow which emerged from Naruto's body. When the bright light disappeared, all the people surrounding Naruto saw his new form. Naruto now wore a crimson cloak reminiscent of Hagoromo's, except that the symbols were black. He wore black pants and red sandals. His headband was still on his forehead. His hair had 2 signature horns to them. His eyes both held a pair of Rinnegan. Kaguya, it's time to play. Shinra Tensei. This move blasted away Kaguya from Hinata, who started falling to the ground. Bansho Tenin. This pulled Hinata towards Naruto, who held her in a bridal carry. Sakura. Could you take care of Hinata-chan for me? I need to take out the trash. As he said this, one of the truth-seeking balls behind him formed into a Shikujo. I'll do it, Naruto. Just defeat this bitch. Make her pay for what she did to Sasuke-kun. Naruto nodded and jumped towards Kaguya. Kaguya, after taking a Shinra Tensei, was in the process of regaining her bearings until Naruto rushed at her and slammed his Shikujo into her stomach, launching her into the air. Naruto then proceeded to smash her in the face with his staff and followed it up with a truth-seeking ball to her stomach. She coughed blood upon impact. Naruto then appeared above Kaguya and shouted out Shinra Tensei, which launched her to the ground, causing a huge mushroom cloud to rise. That was for Sasuke. Kaguya got up from the ground in a regal fashion. While outside she appeared calm, inside her mind she was screaming, how is this possible? I should be more than powerful enough to take him on. What changed? Naruto gracefully hit the ground, all the while looking at Kaguya. How does it feel, Kaguya? How does it feel to know fear? Naruto then launched 2 of his truth-seeking balls at Kaguya's arms, which at their velocity ripped off her arms. Oh! Kaguya screamed as blood poured from her arm sockets. Naruto proceeded to slowly walk towards Kaguya, all the while Kaguya was trying to crawl away from Naruto. So Kaguya, any last words before I rip the jubi from you and release your genjutsu? Yes, just one. Kaguya then let a smile grace her face. Behind her a tendril of wood started to form. What would that be? Naruto raised his shakujo in preparation to strike Kaguya. Oh, it's just that your little girlfriend is left all alone. What do you mean? This all-killing ash bone technique. To which Kaguya launched her wooden spear at Naruto. Whoa! Naruto jumped out of the way of the spear. The spear flew past him. Ah ha ha ha, wow, you have really bad aim. Kaguya smiled, I wasn't aiming for you. Naruto's face took on a shocked expression. What are you? Naruto heard a squelching noise of something impacting flesh. Naruto heard Sakura's scream and turned behind himself. What he saw behind himself seemed like that of a nightmare. Impaled upon a pole of wood was the still-breathing Hinata. An old Hinata. Naruto turned to Kaguya's smiling face. Die, bitch! Naruto then gripped Kaguya's head and using the power of his Rinnegan ripped the Jubi's chakra from her and absorbed it from her. Go back to hell where you belong. Naruto watched as Kaguya's body disappeared without any chakra to hold it. When Naruto absorbed the Jubi's chakra, his cloak became white while its symbols became red. His sandals became white. All around the elemental nation's people were escaping the Tsukuyomi at the moment Kaguya was killed. Naruto ignored these changes and instead ran towards Hinata and Sakura. When he reached them, he stared at Sakura. Sakura shook her head in sadness. Hinata wouldn't make it. Sakura, could you please go to Kakashi-sensei? I want to talk to Hinata. Naruto said this with his head lowered. Sakura stood up and went to Kakashi in order to heal any of his injuries. Naruto fell to his knees next to Hinata. Hinata's feet were already starting to turn to ash, and it was spreading up her legs. Hinata, why did this have to happen to you? Why couldn't Kami have made my life easier? Naruto cried out in sadness. Naruto started to punch the ground, which with his strength created a small crater. Right in the middle of one of his punches, a small pale hand was placed upon his chest. When Naruto felt it, he stopped his punching. Naruto couldn't stop. That won't help. What should I do? Naruto said softly. Hinata then grasped his hand. Live. Hinata said with her unflinching gaze. But I can't bring you back. I don't know how with my Rinnegan. You're the reason I want to live. Then create something new. What should I make then? Naruto asked. Make a creature for me. So that it can be the child that we'll never have. Okay then. Naruto then activated his Rinnegan and put his hands together. Hinata, could you add your chakra to it so that this can be considered our child? Yes, Naruto. Here, take it all. Hinata then placed her hand on top of Naruto's and added her remaining chakra to Naruto's construct. Their creation soon took on the form of a small red egg that was the size of a cannonball. What shall our child be called? Hinata asked Naruto in her dying breath. His name will be Igneel. Naruto replied. Then take care of our son Naruto. With that, Hinata took her final breath and died in Naruto's arms. Hinata, please stay with us, please. Naruto then cried into Hinata's shoulder, latching onto her as his anchor to the world, but that anchor slowly but surely turned to ash before being blown into the winds. The allied shinobi forces watched with tears in their eyes as their hero wept. 10,000 years later. Hey Dad, where are we going, huh? A small boy with pink hair asked. Son, we are going to meet my father, replied a massive red dragon with a yellow underbelly. He had a massive X scar on his chest. The dragon's son rode on his father's back while both were flying. So we're gonna meet my gramps. Is he strong? Yes, Natsu, he is probably the strongest being in all of Earthland. The dragon said to Natsu. Awesome. When we get there, I'm gonna fight him. I'm all fired up. Natsu shouted out. The dragon Igneel chuckled at his son's antics. Boy, he would be in a huge surprise when he met his grandfather. Igneel eventually spotted his destination. It was a mountain which was surrounded by a great forest. He decided to pick up his speed to get to the mountain faster. Hold on, Natsu, we are going to get to your grandfather soon. Alright, Dad. Natsu gripped onto Igneel's scale tighter. Within a minute the father and son duo made it to the mountain. Igneel then dived towards the ground and landed at the base of the mountain. We're here, Natsu. Igneel said curtly. So where are we going, Dad? I don't see anything but a mountain in front of us. That's because you don't see underneath the underneath. Igneel replied. Underneath what, Dad? Is there food there? The minute Natsu said that statement, Igneel raised his arm and flicked Natsu in the head with his claw. This launched Natsu off his back and made him fall to the ground. Stop thinking about food at this moment. We can get food for you later. Dad will make you some of the most delicious food later. Drool started falling from both of their mouths. Igneel was faster than Natsu in awakening from his food daydream. Natsu soon followed. So how do we get to Gramps, Dad? Well, it's a secret passage that your grandfather made so that he could be left alone. The way to reach him is to use Fire Dragon Slayer magic on the mountain. With that said, Igneel launched a torrent of flame upon the mountainside. This activated a massive sealing array on the mountain which created a hole right in front of Natsu and Igneel. Time to go meet the rest of the family. Natsu, come. Both dragon and human walked into the mountain and down the corridor. At the end they saw a man sitting cross-legged with his back to them. Hey Gramps, wake up. Natsu shouted. Ignil's sweat dropped while the man face faulted. The man got up and dusted himself off. He turned himself around and stared at the duo before him. He then cracked his back with a loud auditory snap. Son, why are you here, and who is this? The man asked Ignil. Dad, this is my son Natsu. Ignil, hold on a sec. I'm a grandfather. This is amazing. Naruto then proceeded to rush at Natsu, grabbed him, and then placed him on his shoulders, all the while screaming I'm a grandfather, which accompanied by the laughter of Natsu made an amusing sight. 2 hours later, Naruto had Natsu sleeping in his lap while he talked to Ignil. So son, you want me to watch Natsu because of the Dragon King festival? Naruto said to Ignil, who was currently eating fire made by Naruto. Dad, this is my only request for you. I don't want Natsu to be alone when I disappear. I could never forgive myself if he got hurt. Ignil stared into Naruto's rippled eyes. Naruto met Ignil's gaze and both just stared at one another. Naruto relented. Fine, I'll do it. Geez, I can never say no to those eyes. Naruto sighed and leaned back into the chair he was sitting on. My grandson really means a lot to you. Naruto ruffled Natsu's hair. Yes, he does. I'd do anything for him if I could. Dad, I must leave now. But before I go, I'm giving Natsu this. Ignil then wrapped a scale-patterned scarf around Natsu's neck. Ignil walked to the entrance of the cave and looked back. Goodbye, Natsu. I'll always be watching you. Take care of him, Dad. With that, Ignil flew off. The next morning, Natsu woke up in the next morning in a great mood. He just met his grandfather yesterday, and they were all going to hang out today as a family. Natsu was about to grab his t-shirt and pants when he noticed a scarf on his neck. Wow, this looks cool. I wonder if Dad got me this. Natsu commented to himself as he got dressed. When he was done, he rushed out of his bedroom into a stone hallway which went left and right. Suddenly Natsu's nose alerted him to delicious food coming from the left hallway, to which he ran. Food, here I come. When he entered the area, it appeared to be the entrance to the cave, except it had a stone table with stone chairs. On the table were bacon, eggs, and ham. Dad, Gramps, where are you? It's time to eat. Natsu shouted out. Your father isn't here. He had to leave. Naruto said solemnly while coming out of the shadows. Okay then, we'll just wait for him to come back. Natsu said with a wide smile on his face. I'm sorry, Natsu. But he's not coming back. What are you talking about? Dad always comes back. Natsu's smile started to disappear. Your father had to go on a long journey. He wished he didn't have to, but he had to. Naruto came up to Natsu and placed his hand on his shoulder. But Dad always said he'd be there for me. Tears fell from Natsu's eyes as he said this. Naruto went onto his knees and grabbed Natsu in a hug. It's okay, your dad still loves you. He made that scarf that you're wearing to show it to you. Now eat your food, we're gonna be going on a journey. Natsu wiped his tears with his sleeve. Gramps, where are we going? Naruto looked at Natsu with a large smile. We're going to Fairy Tail. In the woods, Natsu and Naruto were traveling to their destination of Fairy Tail. Unfortunately, Naruto had to deal with Natsu's hyperactiveness during the trip. Are we there yet? A curious Natsu asked. No. Naruto said quickly. Are we there yet? Natsu asked again. No. Naruto said louder. Are there yet, Gramps? No. We are not there yet. Naruto yelled at Natsu. Natsu, I'll tell you when we get there. How does Ignil deal with this? But Gramps, I want to be there now. Natsu whined. If I teach you an attack, then will you shut up? Naruto stopped and looked at Natsu. Natsu stopped and stared at Naruto. You really mean it? Against my better wishes, yes. Natsu then jumped into the air. Yes, this is gonna be awesome. So what are you gonna teach me? Oh no, this is the exact same problem I had before. Better teach him something complex. As Naruto contemplated this, Natsu was just jumping around him in excitement. Okay, I've got it. I'm gonna teach you the Rasengan. Oh, it sounds awesome. So what does the Rasengan do? Naruto face-palmed himself. Natsu, it's pronounced Rasengan. The Rasengan utilizes your magic to basically grind through its targets. Unfortunately, since you only utilize fire magic, I'll have to change the training to match your fire. Sweet. Soon I'll get even stronger. Hold it, Hot Rod, you're gonna need to complete 3 steps in order to learn the Rasengan. Oh, what are these steps? Are they gonna be long? Possibly. It only took me a month to learn it. I'm the record holder for best time in learning the Rasengan. Naruto explained. Now hurry up, Natsu, you're lagging behind. What do you mean? As Natsu looked, he saw that Naruto was already yards away from him. Hey Gramps, don't leave me behind. Natsu then ran up to Naruto. When he finally caught up, Naruto pulled a shiny sphere from his sleeve. This, Natsu, is what you're gonna be training with. This ball is made of tin and filled with water, which can't be affected by your flames. What you need to do is move the water around and use it to pop this ball. So can you do it? Naruto tossed the ball to Natsu. The ball. Natsu caught the ball. Alright Gramps, I'll do this faster than you ever could. With that, Natsu got to work trying to pop the ball. 1 hour later. Why won't it pop? Natsu said, yelling at the air. Natsu ran over to his grandfather, who was resting at the base of a tree. Gramps, how do I make this pop? Naruto opened one of his rippled eyes and looked at Natsu. Can't you let this old man sleep for 5 minutes? Ugh. With that, Naruto got up from his resting spot. Okay, now that you got me up, what's your problem again? Natsu deadpanned. I already told you, how do I pop this ball? Naruto grabbed the ball from Natsu. Okay. This is what you do. Naruto then using his chakra spun the water inside the ball. This made small dents on the metal. Now what you do next is the hard part, Natsu. You need to spin the water in every direction imaginable with your flames. With that said, Naruto then blew up the tin ball. You got it now? I think so, Gramps. Could I get a new ball? Naruto pulled another tin ball out of his sleeve. Here you go. Now leave me be until tomorrow, okay? Naruto then went back to his tree and sat down and closed his eyes. Alright, now that I know the secret, I'll get it for sure. With that, Natsu sat down and tried to manipulate the water with his flames. 5 hours later, Naruto got up from his nap and saw that Natsu was sleeping on the ground. Besides him, his tin ball had a massive dent in it. Well, he's getting there. Soon enough he'll have made it through the first stage. Naruto then took off his cloak and covered Natsu in it as a makeshift blanket. I wonder what Fairy Tail is like. At Fairy Tail, in the middle of the guild sat Makarov Dreyer, the current guild master of Fairy Tail. He at the moment was yelling at his guild members. Come on, you destroyed our client's home. Chapter 3, On the Road P2. Naruto and Natsu were walking on the road. Naruto was busy trying to find out where they were while Natsu was trying to blow up his ball. Come on, I nearly have it. Natsu chanted. Natsu, you might want to ease up on boom. Yes, I got it. Natsu cried out. He finally popped the ball. Wow, I'm surprised, it only took you 5 days. Naruto stated. Inside he was thinking, this is so unfair, it took me weeks to get it down. Well, Natsu, since you passed the first test, we're going to the next one. What's that, Gramps? Naruto proceeded to pull an iron ball from his sleeve. Gramps, I have one question. What's that, Natsu? Where do you keep pulling those balls from? A magician never reveals his secrets. Natsu face faulted. Natsu then got up from the ground. Anyway, what is different with that ball than the other? Natsu asked. This ball is made of iron, which is much stronger than the tin ball. You're going to need to put power in your flames in order to bust it. There also isn't any water within this ball, so you're going to need to use a lot more magic in order to open it. Naruto then tossed the ball to Natsu. Catch, oof. Natsu caught the ball and fell to the ground. Gramps, this is heavy. How am I gonna open this ball if I can't hold it for long? Natsu said while carrying the ball in both his hands. Think of it as extra training. It will also strengthen your body as well as your magic. With that, Naruto continued walking. Alright. This will be great. Soon I'll become even stronger than you one day. Natsu said. Yeah. Sorry to burst your dream, but it's not gonna happen. When he looked to Natsu, he saw that he had a downcast look. I mean now. It is not gonna happen now. One day you might be stronger than me. Natsu's expression immediately brightened. Whoa, that was close. Crisis averted. A few hours on the road and it was already afternoon. The duo was nearing the edge of the forest. Natsu, are you hungry? Naruto asked Natsu, who was still trying to finish step 2 of the Rasengan training. Natsu wasn't even paying attention to Naruto. Instead, he was still looking at the metallic orb. Wow, first time he hasn't reacted when I brought food into a conversation. I can't tell if I should be happy or worried. Naruto stopped. Natsu, who wasn't paying attention, just kept walking. Natsu! Naruto shouted. Natsu jumped a few feet into the air. When he was back on the ground, he turned to Naruto. What? I was wondering if you wanted food. Yeah, sure. As Natsu said this, his stomach rumbled. Okay. I'll go create some food, you go explore or something like that. Natsu ran off to train. He even brought his iron ball with him as he did it. When Natsu finally got tired of running in the forest, he sat down and worked on opening the iron ball. The iron ball heated up to a red glow until he heard a slight ping. Nearly got it. His iron ball had a small dent in it. Some bushes around Natsu were rustling, which made Natsu lift his head up. Natsu then peered at the bushes and shouted out, Hey, anyone there? Oh look, it's a kid all alone in the dangerous woods. The rustling of the bushes stopped, and out came a man in a black cloak with his hood up. Who are you? Natsu stammered. The man moved closer to Natsu. I am Lisanna, a member to the glorious cult of Zerif. You on the other hand look like a kid who could be used as a slave. Hell no! Natsu then lit his fist on fire. Take this, fire dragon's iron fist. Natsu tried to punch the man, but he moved to his left, and Natsu flew past him into the ground. That was a strong attack, brat, but I'm stronger. As he said that, Natsu started floating off the ground. What the hell is this? Why am I floating? Natsu said as he struggled to be free of this invisible force. That would be my levitation magic. It allows me to be able to move anything with just a thought. Now how about we play a game? What game? We'll see how long you'll last being smashed into the ground. Now let's play. When Lisanna said that, Natsu felt the same force holding him smash him into the ground. Natsu screamed in pain as he hit the ground with a boom. Are you enjoying my game? Let's see what happens when I smash you from a greater height. Natsu then felt his body being raised off the ground and above the trees. Tell me if this hurts, brat. Natsu was then smashed into the ground once again. He screamed as he felt two of his ribs snap. Let me go, you bastard. Natsu tried to get up, but the force from before kept holding him down. But we aren't done with our game. Lezen stopped moving as he contemplated what to do next. Oh, I know. We'll play a new game. We'll call it Magic Roulette. The rules are simple. We each get a turn hitting each other with our magic. Whoever falls unconscious or dies first wins. You start, brat. Alright then, you prick. Here we go. Fire dragons roar. Flames erupted from Natsu's mouth and covered Lezen in an orange inferno. Yes, I did it. I beat him. Natsu cheered to himself. If I lost so soon, then how would the game be fun? Lezen said as the flames previously surrounding him disappeared. Now it's my turn. Oh no! Natsu was lifted and smashed into the ground. His groans of pain were music to Lezen's ears. Natsu slowly stood up. His right arm was shattered along with a few more of his ribs. Don't see, count me out yet. Natsu then rushed at Lezen and unknowingly swirled his fire in the palm of his left hand into an incomplete fiery Rasengan. Natsu then pushed it into Lezen's stomach. This launched Lezen away in a slight spiral motion. The front of his cloak was burned away, revealing pale skin underneath. You little brat. Lezen then used his levitation magic on the ground. This lifted giant chunks of rocks above Natsu, who was too weak to move. Hope you enjoyed the afterlife, kid. Lezen then released his hold over the rocks to let them fall on Natsu. Stupid kid. Lezen turned away. Shinra Tensei. All of the rocks that were about to drop on Natsu were blasted away. Lezen turned back to see a blonde man in a white cloak stop the rocks from killing Natsu. What the hell? Lezen said to himself. Hey you? The blonde said. What's it to you? Lezen replied. I have a small question for you. The blonde said in an eerie tone. What is it? I was just wondering. Were you then one who came into this forest, attacked my grandson, and then nearly killed him? Naruto shouted out the last part with killing intent fully aimed at Lezen. Lezen, feeling the massive killing intent, stammered, why yes I did. Suddenly the killing intent disappeared as it came. What's your name? The blonde man asked. It's Lezen. Why did you want to know? I wanted to know your name since I'd like to know the name of the person I'm about to obliterate. Naruto said calmly. Lezen laughed. No, I'm afraid you're wrong. I'm gonna kill you just like that brat over there. Now die. Lezen lifted his hands and aimed his magic at Naruto. Nothing happened. What? Lezen was now afraid. If you're wondering why your magic isn't working, it's because I absorbed all the Eternano within the air. No Eternano, no magic. Naruto then smiled. I'm giving you the count of 3 before I erase you. Naruto stated. Lezen started to run away in fear. 1. Naruto raised his hand and a black ball started forming. 2. The ball became larger and was surrounded in a red aura. 3. Tailed beast ball. A ball of pure chakra was then launched out of his hand at Lezen. Go to hell. Was all Naruto said as he turned towards Natsu. Behind him a massive white sphere of energy exploded. With it a loud scream was heard before being cut off. Naruto calmly walked over to Natsu's position and sat down. When he looked at Natsu, he saw that he was in a depressed mood. After a few seconds of silence, Natsu spoke up. Gramps, I couldn't beat him. Natsu said sourly. Natsu, you did more than I ever could when I was your age. You should be proud of that. I also saw that you had a nearly perfect Rasengan. I can't claim that I could do that. I was 13 when I learned it. Natsu smiled with pride at that statement. Natsu, you're not going to win every fight you pick. Then what do I do if I can't win? Natsu asked. Naruto grabbed Natsu's arm. You get back up. With that, Naruto pulled Natsu to his feet, completely healed. Gramps, I'm not injured anymore. Natsu said while inspecting himself. That's because I healed you. Now do you want some food? I bet you're hungry. Naruto said. Natsu's stomach rumbled. He started scratching the back of his head while smiling sheepishly. Yeah, I am pretty hungry. Naruto picked Natsu up and put him on his back. Let's get some food. Then we're going to start traveling again. After Naruto and Natsu ate, they began walking once again. A few hours later, and they reached the edge of a city. Gramps, are we there yet? Natsu asked. I think so. I really have no idea. Naruto replied. Natsu's sweat dropped at that. Gramps, shouldn't you know everything? I only know a few things. 20% of that knowledge is dedicated to ramen. Both drooled at the thought of ramen. Nevertheless, you shouldn't question your elders. Sure, whatever, Gramps. Natsu said quickly. When they reached the city, they saw a man walking down their path away from it. He looked ridiculous. He was really small with a large white mustache, an orange and blue striped jester's hat which had white hair sticking out, an orange hoodie that had blue highlights at the end of the sleeves, with matching orange shorts. Under the jacket he wore a white shirt with a black guild stamp of fairy tale. Hello there. What are you two doing alone on this road? The man asked. What are you doing on this road, old man? Natsu replied, to which Naruto smacked him in the back of the head. Sorry about my grandson, he is kind of a hothead. The man looked Naruto up and down. Wow, if you're a grandfather, then you aged really well. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. Yeah, well, it happens, Dadabayo. Damn it, I thought I fixed that verbal tick. Naruto thought mentally. The old man laughed. So what is your business in coming to Magnolia? The old man asked. Wow, I was right, Natsu. In your face. Natsu crossed his arms and looked away. Anyway, we're here to join the guild fairy tale. That is interesting. If you want, I can lead you to the guild hall. Wow, thanks, that would really help us. Also, what's your name? Mine's Naruto Uzumaki, and this here, Naruto ruffled Natsu's hair, is my grandson Natsu Drangneil. Well then, Naruto, my name is Makarov Dreyer. Can we hurry this up? I want to get some food. Piped up Natsu. Natsu, we just ate a few hours ago, so I'm hungry again. Makarov then stepped towards Natsu. There is food in the guild hall if you can last that long, he said. Alright. I'm all fired up now, exclaimed Natsu. Ease up there, Natsu. We'll get there soon, Naruto said, gripping Natsu's shoulder. Well, if you two are ready, let's go, Makarov said while walking on the path back towards Magnolia. On their way inside, Makarov was greeted by many of the city's inhabitants. This made Naruto suspicious, but he brushed that feeling away for later. Natsu, on the other hand, was running around looking at all the sights and sounds. Your grandson is really excited. Has he even been to a city before? Makarov asked Naruto. No, my son Igneel raised Natsu in the wild, Naruto replied. Who was Igneel? Makarov asked in curiosity. Oh, he was a fire-breathing dragon. He taught Natsu most of what he knows. Makarov's became wide-eyed at that little tidbit. Makarov spluttered out, why, your son W was a dragon. Naruto nonchalantly replied, yes, he is. So Natsu was raised by a dragon. But how is a dragon your son? It's a story which I don't like to talk about. Makarov heard the sadness in Naruto's voice and left his questions for a later date. Gramps, look at the food here. They are selling all this ramen. With that, Naruto rushed over to the ramen booth that Natsu was at. So Gramps, can we get some ramen? Natsu asked. Sorry, but we can't. I don't have money, Naruto said. How about I pay for it? Makarov said. Natsu ran up to Makarov and hugged him. Thanks, old man. It's fine. I'll pay for all the food you eat, Makarov said. Both Naruto and Natsu smiled. You mean all of it? Both said at the same time. Yes, I will. These words Makarov would regret due to the massive amount of bowls both Naruto and Natsu had stacked up besides them. There was a crowd gathered around the two who watched in both interest and disgust as both Naruto and Natsu inhaled their food. Why did I agree to this? Makarov cried out with waterfalls gushing from his eyes. Finally, Naruto and Natsu stopped eating after their 20th bowl. Thanks, Makarov. That really hit the spot. Say thank you, Natsu, Naruto said. Thanks for the food, old man, Natsu said. So are going to the guild, Makarov? Naruto proceeded to pat Makarov on the back as he said this. Oh, and the bill for the food was 40,000 jewels. Just give me a second to get over my massive depression, Makarov stated with his head down. Why are you so sad, old man? Natsu asked. I'm sad because your stomachs are black holes, Makarov replied. With that, Makarov emptied his wallet of all its money, and the trio was once again on their way towards the guild hall. When they arrived at the guild hall, they saw a 2-story building with a bell tower on top of it. Makarov opened the doors to the guild hall and was greeted by a hello, master, from the guild members inside. Makarov turned to Natsu and Naruto. Welcome to Fairy Tail, you two. This is so cool, Natsu exclaimed. So I'm guessing you're the guild master, huh? Naruto stated. Yes, I am, Makarov replied. Naruto smiled. So where do we sign up? You just wait here, I'll get the guild stamp for you. With that, Makarov went over behind the counter of the bar. He managed to dig out the guild stamp and brought it over to Naruto. So where do you want me to place this stamp, and what color do you want? Makarov asked. Naruto took off his cloak. Underneath it was a black t-shirt. Naruto removed that to reveal a well-muscled chest underneath. The girls in the guild all blushed at his physique. On my stomach in orange. All right then. Makarov then branded Naruto's stomach with the guild mark. Natsu, where would you like you mark? On my right shoulder in red. Natsu lifted up the sleeve of his red t-shirt. Makarov then branded Natsu with his guild mark. Now I officially welcome you two as members of the Fairy Tail Guild, Makarov stated. The guild cheered as they welcomed the new members. One boy came out from the crowd of guild members. He had blackish blue hair, and he was only wearing a pair of black boxers. Hey, old man, who are these two guys? The boy asked. Oh, Gray, these two are Natsu Drangneil and his grandfather Naruto Uzumaki. Makarov replied to Gray. Hey, who is this stripper? Natsu asked Makarov. This is Gray Fullbuster. He's our resident ice mage, so I guess he is an ice princess then. Natsu then started laughing to himself. At least I don't need to be taken here by my grandfather. He doesn't even look that old. Who is your dad? Gray yelled at Natsu. My dad is Igneel the Fire Dragon, Natsu stated with pride. So you're a flame brain, huh? Gray retorted. Oh, that is it. With that, Natsu leapt at Gray and the two started fighting. Hey Naruto, do you want to get a drink while the kid play? Makarov asked. Sure, Makarov. I'm always up to getting hammered. With that said, Naruto and Makarov went to the bar and started drinking. Back with Natsu and Gray, both combatants were charging up their magic. Mist erupted from Gray's hand's ice make, Hammer! A giant hammer made of ice materialized into Gray's hands and he charged at Natsu. Natsu put his hand forward and started building an incomplete Rasengan. He charged at Gray's hammer. Unfortunately for Natsu, his incomplete Rasengan exploded in his face, launching him into one of the guild's walls. Ow! Natsu didn't even fall down since he was so ingrained into the wall. Gray was laughing at Natsu. Wow, what was that pathetic attack? It didn't even hurt me, Natsu groaned as he pushed himself out of the wall. It's called the Rasengan. Gramps was teaching it to me. Gray stuck his hand out for Natsu. Natsu grabbed it, and he was pulled up. Challenge me again when you can actually make an attack of yours work. Gray started walking away from Natsu, at least until Natsu tackled him, and they started fighting each other once again. Well, Maki, this is gonna be the start of a beautiful friendship with those two, Naruto told Makarov as they both watched the fight play out. I agree. Just wait a few years and they might stop fighting, Makarov replied while taking a sip of his drink. Yeah, right. If this is like I think it is, their rivalry will only lead to bigger and much more destructive fights, Naruto said, taking a sip of his drink. Makarov spat his drink out. Oh no! I have to stop this. Makarov then ran off to stop Natsu and Gray's fight. Oh, this is gonna be so much fun, Naruto said to himself. Chapter 4, Fairy Tail Beginnings. It's been 2 days since both Naruto and Natsu had joined Fairy Tail. At this moment right now both Naruto and Natsu were walking on the road towards Magnolia after completing their first job. Natsu, you're going to need to curb your destructive personality, Naruto said to Natsu. Gramps, we got the job done, so why are you complaining? Natsu replied to Naruto. Natsu, you destroyed our client's home when we were meant to remove a rat infestation. It was literally the easiest job that we could do. Naruto deadpanned to Natsu. Natsu ignored Naruto's statement and just walked faster ahead of him. He then pulled out of his bag that he was carrying an iron ball and went back to his Rasengan training. Cheeky little brat. Naruto reached inside his cloak and pulled out a book with a faded white cover with a green outline. He then started to read his book until he heard a boom from Natsu, then an exclamation from said person. Yes. I did it, Gramps. I'm one step closer to becoming stronger than you, Natsu shouted out. Yeah, sure. Keep telling yourself that. Naruto then smiled. Alright, Natsu, now that you've completed the next step you are going to have to accomplish the final stage. This one is the most difficult, Naruto told Natsu. What do you mean by that, Gramps? Natsu asked. The final stage of training involves something that you'll have a large challenge with. Naruto then pulled out a rubber ball. You must use all of what you learned to create the Rasengan, and instead of destroying the ball, keep it contained. What, why? Because otherwise you'll have an accident like you had with Gray. Natsu gained a sweat drop. Seriously, Gramps, you have to bring that up, Natsu said. Yes, because it was hilarious. Natsu tried to hit Naruto in the face when he said that, but Naruto ducked under Natsu's punch. He then stuck his hand out to Natsu and flicked Natsu in the head. This launched him 3 feet away. That is why you respect your elders, Naruto said, walking past Natsu with his face in his book. Gramps, take me seriously, Natsu shouted to Naruto. I will when you can kill rats without destroying a house. Flashback. Several hours earlier, Natsu and Naruto stood before a large green mansion. Naruto knocked on the door and the duo waited for a few seconds. Suddenly the door was opened by a butler. Who are you two? The butler asked them. We're the wizards that took your request, Naruto replied to the butler. The butler opened the door for both of them, and they went in. This is a really big house, Natsu stated. This house, as you put it, has belonged to the Butch Green family for 7 generations. It is a proud testament of their endurance throughout the centuries. Come with me, sirs, to the living room. With that the butler walked away and the duo followed. In the living room a man stood facing the dragon slayer and sage. He wore a black custom-tailored suit. He had green hair and brown eyes. Hello, you must be the mages I asked for, the man stated. Yes, Mr. Bush Green, we're the fairy tale wizards who accepted the request, Naruto said to the man. I'm Naruto and this is my grandson Natsu. Naruto stuck out his hand to Bush Green. Bush Green shook Naruto's hand. Please call me Tora. Oh God, more reminders of that damn cat, Naruto thought to himself. It's a pleasure to meet you, Tora. Naruto internally cringed as he said that. So where is your problem? Naruto asked, straight to business. Please follow me. Tora then went out through the entrance of the living room to the stairway in the middle of the mansion. He then went to the left where a cellar door was located. Tora pulled out a key and unlocked the door. He then went down the stairs. Naruto and Natsu looked at each other, shrugged, and then followed. In the cellar Naruto and Natsu immediately saw the problem. On the floor of the cellar there were hundreds of rats. Tora was still on the stairs and didn't even bother going down. I need you two to eliminate my rodent problem. So you want us to kill them? Natsu asked. Please do not state it like that, it sounds barbaric. I'll be up the stairs waiting for you to finish. Tora then went back up the stairs and left Naruto and Natsu alone. Okay Natsu, how about you clear the cellar? Your magic is more than enough to take care of it. I'll be upstairs waiting for you to finish. Easiest job ever, Naruto thought to himself as he went up the stairs leaving Natsu alone. Wow, what a lazy old man. Well then I'd better take care of this. Fire dragons roar! Upstairs Naruto and Tora were talking to one another. So that was how I had to deal with my son when he was a teenager. I'm not looking forward to my grandson when he becomes a teenager. Naruto said to Tora, who nodded in agreement. I hear you. You have no idea what it's like raising two teenagers who are always squabbling. Yeah, thank God Natsu doesn't have a brother. I think I would go crazy if he did. Right when Naruto said that, both heard a boom. What the hell was that? Tora cried out. Oh no, please don't tell me. Naruto and Tora both smelled something burning. Damn it, Natsu both yelled out. With that, a fiery explosion overtook the mansion. Naruto, Tora, and Tora's butler all erupted from the burned rubble of the once standing mansion. I'm gonna kill him, Naruto stated. Tora and his butler, on the other hand, both had open-mouthed, shocked expressions. All three then heard the movement of rubble. Out popped Natsu. He was covered from head to toe in ash and dust, and was only identifiable from his pink hair. I took care of the rat problem, Natsu said, smiling. Oh, I'll take care of something all right. Tora's butler cried out as he started chasing Natsu. Naruto, are you going to help him? Tora asked. Oh, give him a few minutes. It'll be good exercise. Now about your house, I can rebuild it for you. End flashback. Natsu quit whining and tried to finish the final stage of the Rasengan. Naruto then tossed the rubber ball at Natsu, who caught it. Remember, Natsu, you're trying to contain your flames into a compact ball like this. Naruto then formed a Rasengan on his hand. You don't want to bust the ball. These were Naruto's final words to Natsu. Natsu, when he saw this, started working diligently on not trying to pop the ball. But the minute he used his magic in making the Rasengan, the ball popped. Gramps, I need another ball, Natsu asked. And on cue, a ball was thrown in his face. This cycle continued until they reached Magnolia. Alright, Natsu, you might want to give your training a rest. You can try it again later, Naruto told Natsu. But Gramps, I'm so close. Natsu whined. Just wait till tomorrow. Now let's get back to the guild. Eventually they arrived at the guild. Inside, a massive bar fight was happening. Man, it's good to be back home, Naruto said to himself. Natsu, I'll be going to the master's office to report a job well done. You can hang out. Natsu nodded to this, and Naruto disappeared in a puff of smoke. Right as that happened, a chair was smashed into Natsu. Natsu got up and looked around to see Gray laughing. I'll show you. Fire dragons roar. Natsu spewed out a torrent of flames from his mouth which smashed the laughing Gray into the wall unconscious. Natsu jumped in happiness and chanted, I beat the stripper. I beat the stripper. Anyone else want to challenge me? Natsu taunted. I will, a feminine voice said from the entrance of the guild. At the entrance were 3 people. So are you ready to fight, you weakling? The girl who said this had white hair which was tied up into a ponytail by a purple ribbon. On her neck was a small black choker. She wore a purple tank top that stopped above her stomach. It had a white pattern at the top of it. She wore black short shorts which were held up by a white belt. To complete the ensemble, she wore black thigh-high shoes. She was grinning wickedly and had an evil look with her blue eyes. My name is Mirajane of the Takeover Trio. Now let's fight. Mirajane then transformed her right arm into a red-scaled version of it with black claws at the end. She then rushed at Natsu in speeds that Natsu couldn't even see. She then smacked him into one of the pillars of the guild hall. Ow! Natsu got up off the ground. He proceeded to light his fist on fire and charged at Mirajane. Take this, Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. Mirajane sidestepped Natsu, who ran past her into a wall. Natsu managed to tear through the wall and ran onto the cobblestone ground until he tripped. Who taught you how to fight, your grandfather? Mirajane said mockingly while laughing. Natsu pushed himself off the ground and turned towards Mira. Yes, my Gramps did teach me as well as my father. Well then, your Gramps and old man are probably very weak. I could probably crush both of them without even using my takeover magic. Mira then felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned around and saw probably the sexiest man that she ever saw. He was wearing a white cloak, had spiky blonde hair, cute whisker marks, and purple rippled eyes. Hello there, sexy. My name is Mirajane Strauss. I'm the strongest woman of fairy tale. Who would you be? She asked the blonde stranger with a blush on her face. I'm Natsu's grandfather, Naruto Uzumaki. He replied in a quick tone. Yeah, you are. Wait, what? Mirajane screamed out in confusion. But you look so young. Shouldn't you be his father at least? No, I'm pretty old. My son Igneel is Natsu's father. Naruto replied. Yeah, my father is Igneel the Fire Dragon. Natsu piped up. What? How is your son a dragon? Mira shouted out. Naruto rubbed the back of his head while grinning. Well, things just happen. Mira just face-palmed at what Naruto said. Anyway, were you just saying that I and my son are weak? Naruto said with a large grin on his face. Yes, I did. Your grandson is really weak, Mira said to Naruto, regaining her former vigor. Naruto just kept smiling while an eerie pressure built up around the guild. Everyone started to feel it. This caused them to all become fearful. Some of them even fainted. Okay, I am sorry about what I said before. Just stop, Mira said as she relented. Well, it's good that you learned your lesson. I'm gonna go get a drink. Natsu, you should probably become inconspicuous or in simpler just not guilty looking since Maki is coming downstairs. With that Naruto walked off. Mira followed suit and left. Natsu was trying to get up after his defeat until a hand stuck itself in his face in order to help him up. He grabbed it, and was pulled to his feet by a white-haired girl with blue eyes. Her hair barely touched her shoulders. She wore a pink dress with a polo collar that went to her knees. It had a darker pink stripe down the center with the pink also being on the edges of the top and bottom of the dress. Hello there Natsu. I'm sorry about my sister Mira. She can be a little arrogant but she's actually pretty nice. The girl said to Natsu. What's your name? Natsu asked. Oh, it's Lisanna Strauss. And this here, she pointed to the boy beside her. He had short spiky white hair, dark eyes, and he was wearing a blue suit with a bow tie, is my big brother Elfman. Elfman waved to Natsu shyly. Don't worry about my brother. He's always been a little shy. Elfman then looked from Natsu and Lisanna to Mira who was walking away. Lisanna, we should probably go with Mira. Okay then Elfman. It was nice meeting you Natsu. With that Elfman and Lisanna ran after Mira. Well, it was nice meeting those guys. Natsu said to himself. Who the hell made a hole in my guild wall? Natsu heard Makarov yell. Oh shit! Natsu said to himself. He then looked around trying to find some place to hide. Makarov stepped up to the hole in the guild wall and looked around in order to find the culprit. He spotted Natsu. So Natsu, did you break the wall? Makarov said in an angry tone. No, it was Gramps. Natsu then ran away from Makarov. Makarov then walked towards Naruto who was busy drinking at the bar. So Naruto, did you break the wall? Makarov then grabbed a mug of beer and started drinking. Nah, I was just drinking. Also if you want Natsu, he'll be back at the front doors in 10 minutes. Naruto said nonchalantly. How do you know? Makarov asked curiously. I'm his grandfather, I know him pretty well. Well, at least you know your grandson really well. My grandson Laxus has been troubled for a while. I have no idea about what to do with him, Makarov said sadly while taking a swig of his beer. I'm sure you'll figure it out. Now who is Mirajane? Naruto asked. Oh, she is an up-and-coming powerful takeover mage. She'll probably pass the S-class exams when she gets older. Makarov replied. Well, that's nice. She was pretty disrespectful to me though, said I was a weak old man. Geez, kids these days, no respect. Naruto said to Makarov. I hear ya Naruto. No one treats us geezers with respect anymore. Makarov said. Naruto got up off his bar stool. Well Makarov, I think I'm gonna grab Natsu and find ourselves a house. Wait, you don't have a house, where have you been sleeping? In the woods or on the guild's roof? Naruto replied. Okay then. Have fun. With that Naruto left to find Natsu. 30 minutes later, Gramps, none of the houses looked good. Natsu said in a bored manner. He was staring at a pamphlet which had available houses of Magnolia. Just wait, I heard of a place in the woods. I'm gonna head to the salesman over there to see about that house. Naruto then walked to a man in a black business suit. Both started to talk. Natsu looked around the office they were in. He waited a couple of minutes until Naruto came to him after shaking hands with the businessman. Natsu, I got it, Naruto said. Natsu smiled and followed Naruto. So Gramps, what does the house look like? Natsu asked eagerly. You'll see it when we get there. Natsu glared at Naruto but said nothing. With that Naruto and Natsu made their journey to the outskirts of the city. When they finally reached the outskirts they went inside the forest itself. Natsu followed Naruto who knew where to go at the moment. Gramps, we there yet? Naruto just looked at Natsu when he said that. Natsu, shut up and go back to your Rasengan training. I'll tell you when we get to the house. With that Naruto just ignored Natsu for the rest of the trip unless he needed to supply Natsu with another rubber ball. After 10 minutes of walking Naruto stopped. This caused Natsu to bump into his back. Gramps, why did you stop? Natsu asked. Naruto turned towards Natsu and smiled. I stopped because we have arrived at our destination. Naruto replied. What does destination mean? Natsu asked. It's pronounced destination, and it means the place that you wanted to go to in simplest terms. Okay Gramps. Now Natsu, check out our new home. Naruto pointed Natsu's attention to a house with a pitched red roof. A doorway jutted from the main part of the house with a red door. Above the doorway was a circular window. The part that caught Natsu's attention was the pair of trees that sprouted from the house. Next to the doorway was a chimney. This place looks awesome. Natsu shouted and then ran into the house. Well, I guess he's excited. That kid has too much energy for me. Naruto mused to himself. He then proceeded to follow Natsu and explore the house with him. Inside the house it was completely empty. The only thing that was heavily abundant in the house was a thick layer of dust that covered the building. Hey Natsu, I'll make us some beds to sleep on. What would you like for your bed? Naruto asked Natsu. I want a hammock Gramps. Natsu replied. Okay then. Natsu, remember when you asked how I pulled all those balls out of my sleeves? Naruto said to Natsu while clapping his hands together. Yeah, I remember Gramps. Why? Natsu replied curiously. This is why. With that Naruto's purple eyes seemed to glow slightly and a hammock appeared from nothing much to the awe of Natsu. Wow, that was cool Gramps. How did you do that? Natsu questioned Naruto while inspecting his hammock. It's because of my eyes. Naruto pointed to his eyes. They are called the Rinnegan. Wow, so that's why they look awesome. Could I get the Rinnegan one day? Natsu asked innocently. No, that wouldn't be possible. You would need to have them transferred in order to get them. Naruto stated to Natsu, much to his disappointment. Better not tell him that he's adopted. Naruto then messed up Natsu's hair. Hey, don't be like that. You have something that I'll never have. I do. Natsu asked, looking at Naruto. You have your Dragon Slayer magic which Igneel taught you. I'll never be able to learn it unlike you. So cheer up. Naruto then hung up Natsu's hammock and left his room to find his own. Natsu yawned. Man, I feel sleepy. I think I'm going to go to sleep. Natsu then jumped into his new hammock and settled in. Eventually he fell asleep. Naruto walked down the hall to Natsu's room after he created his own bed. He stuck his head into Natsu's room to see his grandson sleeping. Naruto smiled at this and walked away while turning all the lights in the house out. Naruto eventually went into his own room and pulled out a small scroll from his sleeve. He unraveled it and unsealed the items within. The items consisted of a white book with a green edge, 3 orange books, a tri-pronged kunai, a picture of Team 7, Naruto's parents, and finally one of Hinata. Naruto then reverently put them on a shelf in his room. With that he went towards his newly created bed and slept. Meanwhile on a beach a girl came crawling from the water. She wore a dress that was basically rags, and an eye patch on her right eye. Her left brown eye stared at the stars in the sky. Her most noticeable trait was her scarlet hair. She collapsed to the ground and screamed at the sky in sadness. Chapter 5. The Knight Meets the Dragon. An armless Kaguya stood before Naruto once again. She then smiled that cruel smile that Naruto had to witness for the last 1,000 times before she launched a wooden spear at him. Naruto tried to stand before the stake and take the hit, but no matter what he did he always dodged out of the way. Then he heard the sound of the stake impacting a body. Naruto turned around and saw that it hit Hinata once again. He saw blood flow out of the wound. He then cried out, Hinata! Naruto sat up from his bed screaming. When he finally calmed down he saw that he was covered in sweat. Damn, that nightmare never stops even after all these years. Naruto said sadly to himself. He then went to rub the sleep out of his eyes, but he felt wetness. It was tears. He wiped his eyes and looked up to the shelf with Hinata's picture which calmed him down. When Naruto looked outside his window he saw that it was almost dawn. He got up out of his bed. Then put his index and middle finger of both his hands into a cross shape which spawned a puff of smoke besides him. When the smoke cloud disappeared a copy of Naruto stood next to him. Go make some bacon and eggs. I'll be in the shower. Naruto ordered to the clone. His clone nodded and left to finish its task. Naruto went to the bathroom, took off his clothes, and stepped into the warm shower. 10 minutes later Naruto stepped out of the bathroom with a towel around his waist. He then went into his room and put on his gray pants, black t-shirt. He grabbed his white cloak and headed into Natsu's room. Naruto then flipped Natsu's hammock upside down which caused Natsu to fall to the floor. This caused Natsu to awaken groggily. Oh Gramps, I was having such a good dream. It was about a mountain of food that I could eat. Natsu said to Naruto. Well Natsu, if you want some real food then you should get up. That nose of yours should be able to smell it. Naruto replied to Natsu. Natsu got up and ran to the kitchen. Naruto proceeded to follow Natsu. When Natsu got into the kitchen he saw Naruto sitting in a chair reading a book. Gramps, how did you get here so fast? Natsu asked. Natsu, I'm right here. A voice from behind Natsu replied. Natsu looked back and forth from the two Narutos in the room. How is this happening? You're in front of me and behind me. Natsu cried out. The Naruto behind Natsu just walked up to his clone. This is a technique of mine known as the Shadow Clone Jutsu. It makes a copy of the user of the technique by splitting their energy with the copy in half. It's completely real. Naruto patted the clone on the back, and it can use all of my abilities. The only issue is that it needs one good hit before it dispels. Naruto punched the clone in the face which made it burst in a puff of smoke. Can you teach me it? Natsu asked eagerly. No, it's one of the abilities of mine which can't be taught to another. Sorry kiddo. Now eat your breakfast. We're going to the guild in 15 minutes. Natsu dug into his breakfast, and within 1 minute he finished his food. More please. Natsu said while raising his plate to Naruto. Sure Natsu. Naruto then went to the stove and grabbed more bacon and eggs and put it onto Natsu's plate. A few minutes later they were out the door, and on their way to Magnolia. They arrived to the guild and opened the doors. Inside another bar fight was happening. Just an average day at Fairy Tail. Natsu, I'm going to hang out with Mikao and Wakaba. Go hang out. Naruto then went away from Natsu to a table where the two before-mentioned men were sitting. Wakaba mine wore a beige jacket. Under his jacket was a red shirt. He wore black pants as well as sunglasses. His most notable feature was his brown hair which protruded frontwards in a large curly tuft. He had a cigarette in his mouth that he was smoking. Next to Wakaba was Mikao. Konbolt sat with a bottle of booze in his hand. Mikao had short spiky blue hair and dark eyes and some facial hair. He wore a blue shirt and white pants. Hey Naruto, how are you doing? Wakaba asked Naruto. Oh, I'm fine. I have been having a pretty average day. Naruto replied. Hey guys, duck. Mikao said in an even tone to both Naruto and Wakaba. They ducked and above them Natsu sailed over them. Well Naruto, Natsu is pretty energetic today. How do you deal with it? Mikao asked. Oh, I figured out years ago that giving him impossible tasks related to training can shut him up. Naruto replied. Bansho Tenin, a glass filled with alcohol flew into Naruto's grip. I bet that magic makes your life pretty lazy. Wakaba stated. He then took a drink. Yeah it does, but I still do things naturally at times. Other times I do act lazy though. Naruto drank from his glass. So Mikao, I heard you got a date. Naruto looked at Mikao slyly. Yeah I did. She's really nice as well. Mikao said with a smile on his face. Well then, treat her nicely. Naruto replied. Hey Naruto. Wakaba said. What is it? Naruto asked. What happened to your wife? He asked. Never married. Naruto stated back to Wakaba. Why not? Wakaba asked. It's personal, could you please stop asking about it? Naruto stated to Wakaba. Okay then, sorry about that. But I do have one other question. Wakaba said to Naruto. Oh, what would that be? How is it you have a dragon for a son? I know Natsu is a good kid, but maybe he's over-exaggerating. No. My son is literally a dragon. Naruto replied. Well, how does that work out? I mean, it just happens, Wakaba. Mikao could sense that the conversation was going downhill quickly, so he improvised. Hey Naruto, do you have a deck of cards on you? Mikao asked. Yeah, just a sec. Naruto pulled a pristine deck of cards out of his sleeve. Here you go. And he handed the deck to Mikao. Now do you guys want to play poker? Mikao asked. Sure, I'm in. Wakaba replied. What about you, Naruto? Alright. Let's do this. Mikao then dealt out the cards and they played. After those rounds of poker, Mikao and Wakaba knew to never challenge Naruto to a game again unless they wanted to lose. Well, that was a fun game, wouldn't you guys say so? Naruto asked his two friends. Both Mikao and Wakaba were crying waterfalls because each lost 20,000 jewels each. We're never playing you again. Both said to Naruto at the same time. With Natsu, he just finished fighting Grey. He was about to go to start his Rasengan training again when the guild doors were violently pushed open. The one who stood there was a red-headed girl who was dressed in rags. Her one brown eye looked upon those in the guild, which attracted all of the guild members' attention. Natsu was the only one that walked towards the girl. Hello, my name is Natsu. What's your name? Natsu asked the girl. The girl was taken aback for a moment before she regained her composure. My name is Erza Scarlet. I'm here to meet the master. She replied. Yes, what do you want? Makarov said to Erza from the second floor of the guild. I wish to join Fairy Tail. Erza stated. Why do you want to join Fairy Tail? Makarov asked. It's because I was told by Grandpa Rob about Fairy Tail, and I promised him that I would join. Erza said to Makarov. Sure then. So where would you like your guild mark and in what color would you like it? Makarov asked. In blue on my left arm. Erza stated to Makarov. Naruto, could you grab the guild stamp for me? Makarov asked Naruto. Wow, you're getting lazy, Maki. Bansho Tenin. The guild stamp flew from the counter of the bar into Naruto's hand. Here you go, Maki, Shinra Tensei. The guild stamp then flew into Makarov's hand. Thank you, Naruto. Makarov then applied the guild stamp onto Erza's arm. Welcome to Fairy Tail, Erza. Naruto, Natsu, could you show her the ropes? I'm going to get a drink. Makarov then walked to the bar and got himself a drink. So Erza, you're gonna be hanging out with me and Gramps for a while. Want to get some food? Natsu asked Erza with his hand outstretched to her. Sure, Natsu. She smiled slightly from the kind interaction that Natsu was provided to her. She put her hand in Natsu's. She was then dragged over to the bar. Naruto, who was watching this interaction, laughed a little to himself. Those two look cute together. Naruto said to himself. He then followed Natsu and Erza to the bar. He saw the two of them sitting next to each other. He took a seat beside Natsu and sat down. He listened in as Natsu chatted to Erza. You ever had cake before? Natsu asked Erza. No, what's cake? Erza replied to Natsu. It's something that's good to eat. Natsu said back to Erza. So Natsu, how's your date going? Naruto teased Natsu. Natsu blushed at this. What are you talking about, Gramps? I'm just showing Erza what cake is. Little did both know, but Erza was slightly blushing. She fought his back down and looked at Naruto. Natsu, who is this? Erza questioned. This is my grandfather Naruto. Natsu replied to Erza. Erza looked shocked. Natsu, how is he your grandfather? He's so young. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. I'm actually his grandfather, and I'm always being mistaken for being younger though. Naruto replied to Erza. What happened to Natsu's father? Why isn't he here with him? Erza asked Naruto. Natsu looked unhappy at this. Natsu's father had to leave him. Because of that he asked me to watch him. Igneel is probably doing so important dragon business right now. Naruto said all of this to Erza and took a drink from his mug. What do you mean by dragon business? Erza asked confused. My dad is the fire dragon, Igneel. Natsu piped up to Erza. Okay then. Erza said unquestioningly. Well, this is strange. Naruto mused to himself. What is strange, Naruto? Erza asked. You're the first person who hasn't questioned Natsu's father being a dragon. It's a little funny. The cake that Natsu ordered for himself and Erza finally arrived. Here's a strawberry cake for you, miss. And your chocolate cake with added fire. The barmaid then lit the cake on fire. Hope you enjoy. The barmaid then walked off. Natsu then ate the flames from his cake before eating the cake itself. Erza, Troy Ut, Natsu said with a mouth full of cake. Erza looked at her cake suspiciously before stabbing her fork into the cake. She lifted the piece of cake to her mouth. Then she took a small bite. Her eye lit up and she devoured the piece on her spoon. Then she gobbled down the rest of the cake. Wow, Erza, you must really like that cake. Natsu said to Erza. Do you want more? Natsu asked. Yes, please. Erza replied. Natsu called the barmaid back and she gave Erza another piece of cake. This piece was devoured just as quickly as before. Erza had 2 more pieces before she couldn't eat anymore. Thank you for the food, Natsu. Erza said, her one eye looking at Natsu with gratitude. No problem, Erza. You're my friend, so it's fine. Natsu said to Erza with a smile. You want to be my friend? Erza said to Natsu. Of course I want to be your friend. What made you think otherwise? And nothing at all. Erza replied. Naruto watched all of this interaction in interest. Those two seem good for each other. Naruto thought to himself. Alright, lovebirds, we need to go. Naruto said to the kids. Why, Gramps? Natsu asked. Because, we need to get clothes for Erza. She can't go around in those rags all day. Naruto then got up. Come you too. With that, Natsu and Erza followed. The trio went into Magnolia's shopping district and looked around. They checked each store until they finally found a white dress with a red bow on the neck as well as black tights and brown shoes with woolen insides which Erza liked. They started to walk back towards the guild when Erza stopped before an armor shop and looked through the window. Erza, do you want to go in there? Naruto asked. Erza just nodded at him. Naruto went inside, followed by Erza and Natsu. He went to the front desk and spoke to the armorer of the shop. Hey, could you fix up a set of armor for Erza here? He pointed to Erza who stood next to him. I need it in her size, if that's possible. Sure, it's certainly possible, the man said. He was a heavily muscled man who wore a white shirt, black pants, leather gloves and apron. He was bald, which showed some of the scars he had. His eyes were a deep green color. Then when could it be ready? Naruto asked. I just need her measurements and in 20 minutes I'll have it made. The armorer replied to Naruto. He then pulled a tape measure from under his desk and went up to Erza. He got her measurements quickly and went into his forge. The trio looked around his shop during the waiting period and looked at the armor and weapon sets. Naruto and Natsu weren't as enthusiastic as Erza was when looking around. After the 20 minutes passed, the armorer came out with a cheese plate and shoulder plates. The armorer fitted the armor onto Erza. When he was done fiddling with it, he brought her in front of a mirror. How does it look? The armorer asked. Erza turned to look at him. It looks perfect, Erza said with a smile on her face. What's your name? Erza asked. It's Ornstein. The armorer replied. Well, Erza, it's time to go, Naruto said from behind her. Erza followed Natsu and Naruto. See you guys again, Ornstein said to the trio. All of them left his shop and headed back to the guild. When they finally made it back, they sat down at a table. So Erza, you need a place to sleep, right? Natsu asked Erza. Yeah, I do need to find a place to sleep, Erza replied. How about you stay with me and Gramps? Would it be okay with you, Gramps? Natsu said to Erza and Naruto. Sure, it's fine with me, Natsu. Would you like to live with us, Erza? Naruto said to Erza. Okay, I'll live with you guys, Erza replied. Yes. This is gonna be great, Natsu said while jumping in the air. Erza giggled at Natsu's antics. Naruto, on the other hand, just smiled. Alright then, let's go to the house then. Naruto stood up while Natsu and Erza followed suit. They made their way to the house in 10 minutes. Alright, Erza, you can share Natsu's room. Natsu, I need you to hang up another hammock for Erza. Naruto then created a hammock in front of Natsu and Erza, much to her amazement. Natsu grabbed the hammock and went to his room to hang it up. Can you create anything? Erza asked. Yes, I can, but I don't like to do it for everything. Now, Erza, where did you come from before you joined Fairy Tail? Naruto questioned Erza with a serious face. I can't tell you, Erza said to Naruto with her head down. Tears started to fall from her eyes. She started getting lost in painful memories until she felt someone wrap their arms around her. When she came back to reality, she saw that Naruto was hugging her. It's alright, Erza. I know what it's like to feel both sorrow and suffering. You can come to me if you ever need to let it out. Just don't bottle your emotions, and make friends so you're not alone. Naruto let go of Erza and stared into her eye. He looked at the eye patch that covered her right eye and decided to fix it. Erza, do you want me to fix your eye? Naruto asked her. Erza smiled. You can fix it? She asked with hope. Yes, now stand still, Naruto replied. He then removed her eye patch and put his hand over her closed eye. Naruto stood still and absorbed the nature energy around him as well as small amounts of Ether Nano. With that, he remade Erza's eye. You can open your eye, Erza, Naruto said to Erza. Erza slowly opened both of her eyes for the first time in years. Streaming out of one eye were tears of happiness. Naruto took note that tears weren't coming out of her right eye. Probably screwed the process up by adding Eterneno into the mix. Naruto thought to himself. He was brought out of his musings when Erza ran up to him and gave him a hug. Thank you? Erza said softly to him. It's no problem. Now how about you go show Natsu your new eye? Don't spend all your time with an old man like me. Naruto lightly pushed Erza into the direction of Natsu's room. Naruto walked to his room and went to the shelf. He took down Hinata's picture and smiled. He then went to his bed and set the picture by his bedside table. Well, Hinata, things are going pretty well for me. I wish you were here to see it. Naruto then removed his cloak and shirt, and then he went into his bed and slept. Many miles away in an unknown location 5 hooded figures were meeting. Each of them wore a black hooded robe. So he has left his hiding spot after all this time. A gruff male voice stated. Yes, he has, and he's taken a child under his wing. An even-toned voice replied. Then when shall we strike? A feminine voice asked. You must give the plan time. In a few more years when we are ready we will go after him. We need time for this. He is the Jubi for your information. A deep baritone voice replied. For now we shall watch and wait. Kaguya, I have a task for you beforehand. What is it, master? A nasally voice asked. I need you to watch the dragon boy, just in case we need to take care of him in the future. Yes, my master. He then faded into the ground. We must be ready for this. The meeting is now over. With that all the remaining members turned around and left. On the back of each cloak, though, was a red cloud. Meanwhile a young girl was walking towards Magnolia. She had brown hair which was in a ponytail, brown eyes, and was wearing an orange dress that had lines crossing over it. Soon I'll find you, Dad, she said to herself. Chapter 6. The Fortune Teller of Fairies. Erza woke up in her hammock. She looked over to the other side of the room and saw Natsu still sleeping. Erza smiled to herself. This is the best time I've had for years. She then got up out of her hammock and went to the bathroom to take a shower. After she cleaned herself, she wrapped a towel around herself and went back into her room. She put on her clothes and went over to Natsu. Natsu, it's time to wake up, Erza said softly at first. The only reaction she got from Natsu was him rolling over with his back to her. Erza got annoyed and then shouted out, Natsu. The reaction was immediate. Natsu jumped out of his hammock screaming. When Natsu looked at the person who woke him up, he saw Erza. Erza, why did you have to scream at me? Natsu asked as he groggily. It's because you wouldn't get up when I asked you the first time. Now get dressed, we're going to eat breakfast. Erza then walked away, leaving Natsu to get ready. When Erza got into the kitchen, she saw that Naruto, with his back turned to her, was already making pancakes. That food smells delicious, Erza stated to Naruto. Naruto didn't even flinch at her entering. Why, thank you, Erza. It'll be ready in a few minutes. Is Natsu up? Naruto asked. Yeah, I woke him up, Erza replied. I'm surprised you managed to wake him up. It takes me a couple of times to get him out of bed, Naruto said to Erza while flipping a pancake. It was nothing, you just need to show him who's boss. Okay then. The pancakes are done, Naruto said as he flipped the pancakes onto a plate. Here you go, Erza. Naruto set it on the table with a bottle of syrup. Thank you, Naruto, Erza said while putting syrup onto the pancakes. You don't have to call me that. Just call me Gramps, Naruto said with a smile on his face. Oh, okay, Gramps, Erza said to Naruto. Naruto then got out another plate and put pancakes onto it. A few seconds later Natsu entered the room. Yeah, we're having pancakes, Natsu exclaimed in excitement. Yeah, Natsu, just get your plate and eat, Naruto told Natsu. Natsu sat down at the table and started eating. Hey Erza, I have a question, Natsu said, no longer eating. What is it, Natsu? Erza replied. What is your magic? Natsu asked. Erza stopped eating and looked at Natsu. My magic is telekinesis and requip. That's cool. How about we fight later? Natsu said to Erza. Sure, that's fine with me if it's okay with Gramps, Erza said, now shifting her eyes to Naruto. Naruto stood still in a thinking position before nodding his head. That's okay with me. Just make sure you kids don't destroy the area that much. Thanks, Gramps. Now let's go fight, Natsu said to Erza. He then ate his pancakes more ravenously until he was finished. Alright, I'm all fired up. Erza, follow me, I know a place we can fight. Just as he was about to run outside, Naruto stopped him. Not so fast, Natsu. Is the place you plan to fight filled with trees? Naruto asked. Maybe, Natsu said with his arm crossed. Alright, I know where you two can have this fight. Just give me a moment. Naruto let go of Natsu and brought his thumb to his mouth. He then bit down hard, which caused blood to slightly squirt out, much to the grimaces of both Natsu and Erza. Naruto then made a few quick hand seals before shouting out summoning jutsu. A small cloud of smoke appeared and out came a gray-green toad wearing a frayed green cloak. It had large white eyebrows and a mohawk. The toad looked around until he saw Naruto. The toad looked shocked for a few seconds before it jumped up and pulled out a black staff which it smashed into Naruto's head. Ow! That hurt, Fukasaku! Naruto screamed at the toad. That's what you get for not even sending us a message in 50 years. Next time don't wait so long. Fukasaku settled down for a moment before looking at Natsu and Erza. So, who are these youngins? Fukasaku asked. I'm Natsu Neil. Gramps, who is this? How did he appear here? Natsu asked Naruto. Fukasaku's eyes widened at Natsu's statement. So Naruto, you're a grandpa. You should have told us. Shima is gonna have a fit when she hears this. Fukasaku said with a smile. Now Natsu boy, I'm Fukasaku, Naruto boy's teacher as well as one of his summons. The toad replied. That's so cool. Natsu said. While he was jumping, Fukasaku noticed Erza. So young lady, who are you? Fukasaku asked. I'm Erza Scarlet. She replied. You remind me of Kushina. Is this one yours as well, Naruto boy? Fukasaku asked. No, she isn't. I decided to take her in since she needed a home. Naruto replied. He then leaned close to Fukasaku and whispered she also needs some friends, she's had a rough time. Fukasaku nodded to this. Now Naruto boy, why did you summon me? Fukasaku asked. I wanted to ask if you could allow Erza and Natsu to train on Mount Maiboku. I would do that for you, Naruto boy, but they would need to sign the contract in order to be reverse summoned. Fukasaku stated to Naruto. Alright, I'll let them sign it. Naruto replied. Okay then, Naruto boy. Fukasaku then with a hand seal and a puff of smoke summoned a large scroll. Here's the toad contract. Naruto took the scroll and rolled it open. Alright Natsu, Erza, I need you two to sign this with your blood. Will it let me be able to summon frogs like him? Natsu asked, only to immediately have Fukasaku's staff hit his head. Natsu cried out in pain. I'm a toad, not a frog, Natsu boy. Fukasaku said sternly. Erza giggled at this. Alright Erza girl, sign the contract first, Natsu you're next. Erza then bit her thumb. She winced in pain at this but ignored it and signed her name. Natsu did the same. Good, now I can reverse summon you to Mount Maiboku. Fukasaku then disappeared in a puff of smoke. Erza looked at Naruto. Grandpa, will we be able to summon toads? Erza asked. Naruto looked at Erza sadly. No, you won't be able to. They can only be summoned if you can use an old energy source called chakra. You use magic which is powered by Ether Nano. It's almost completely different. Now hold on, we're about to be summoned. Then all of them disappeared in a puff of smoke. When the smoke dissipated, Erza saw that they were in a mountainous area by a waterfall that appeared to be made of oil. Here you two youngins can train without breaking anything. That's awesome. Natsu shouted next to Erza. Are you ready to fight, Natsu? Erza asked. Yeah, let's do this. Natsu then lit his fists on fire. Erza drew her rapier and held it in front of herself. They charged each other. Natsu cocked his left fist back and punched at Erza's head. Erza leaned her head to the right while also getting a slice at Natsu's outstretched arm. They separated from one another. Natsu, your technique is sloppy. You can't fight me like a brawler. Erza then charged at Natsu and made a slice for his already injured left arm. Natsu jumped back and narrowly missed being sliced by Erza's sword. He then let fire burst from his right elbow which pushed his right arm forward at a fast enough speed which Erza couldn't dodge. She was sent flying a few yards before she landed on her feet. You're getting better, Natsu, but you still have much to work on. Erza threw her sword at Natsu, who gathered fire into his right palm. He then swirled it about and finally stabilized it into a spiraling ball. Rasengan! Natsu cried out as he charged the flying sword and pressed his attack into it. All anyone could hear was the screeching of metal being grinded. When it was finally over, Natsu stood breathing heavily over a pile of melted metal that was melted into a spiral shape. Natsu looked at his handiwork and had an excited expression. I did it! I did. Natsu then collapsed into an unconscious heap. Fukasaku looked surprised. So you taught him the Rasengan. It's amazing that he learned it at this age. Erza stared at Natsu in amazement. He is improving rapidly. It's amazing. Erza said with a small blush on her face. Naruto and Fukasaku shared a glance before they looked back at Erza and the unconscious Natsu. Alright Erza, it's time we head back. What happened to Natsu? Erza asked. Oh, he just is suffering magical exhaustion. Don't you worry about your boyfriend, he'll be fine. Naruto replied to Erza with a foxy grin. Erza just had a blush on her face as red as her hair. With that, Naruto picked up Natsu and went next to Erza. Goodbye, Fukasaku. See you later. Then all three vanished in a puff of smoke. Fukasaku smiled. Those two kids remind me of Minato and Kushina. He then walked back to his hut. Back on Earthland, the trio appeared. Naruto sat Natsu down on a couch, and using his senjutsu, healed Natsu as well as re-energized him. Natsu came too. Well, Natsu, congratulations. You learned the Rasengan. Natsu smiled at this. Then he went back to sleep. I guess Natsu is worn out from that fight you two had. He's probably gonna be out for the rest of the day, so let's go to the guild hall. Erza nodded. Naruto, after he said this, picked Natsu up and took him to his room where he put Natsu in his hammock. After that, both Naruto and Erza went to the guild. When they arrived, they saw that people were crowding around a girl. They were called over by Mikao. Naruto, Erza, come over here. We have a new member. When they both arrived over to Mikao, they saw the girl had brown hair that was tied into a ponytail. She wore an orange dress that had black lines crossing over it. Her brown eyes were staring intently at fortune-telling cards. Hey Kana, these are Naruto and Erza who I was talking about. Hey, where's Natsu? Mikao asked confused. Oh, Natsu is sleeping. Naruto replied. He then looked at Kana who was staring at him strangely. What are you looking at? Naruto asked. Your eyes look weird. Kana replied. Naruto's sweat dropped. But he smiled a second later. I guess they do look a little weird. Naruto then laughed, which Kana joined in on. So what were you doing with those cards? Naruto asked. I am able to tell people's fortunes with these cards. Kana replied. Would you like me to tell you your fortune? Kana asked. Sure, why not? Naruto replied and sat down. Kana then shuffled her deck and pulled out 3 cards face down onto the table. Pick 2. Kana said to Naruto. Naruto picked the one in the middle, which Kana flipped over. The picture looked like a person was floating into the sky. This means that you'll find inner peace. I think I'm pretty peaceful as it is. Naruto replied. He then picked a card on the right, which Kana flipped over. On this picture was a normal-looking man on the left side of it, while on the right side was a horrible-looking monster. Kana looked a little shocked at it. This is the mark of the beast. It symbolizes that you'll feel great rage one day. Kana said to Naruto. Erza saw that Naruto gained a slightly fearful expression on his face, but it disappeared as soon as it came. Well, I'll tell you one thing, Kana, and that is that I make my own fate. But let's skip this unhappy nonsense. How about I get you some juice? Naruto asked Kana. Kana nodded to this, and Naruto ordered in a glass of beer as well. When the barmaid set the glasses down, Kana grabbed the glass closest to her and started drinking. Naruto followed. This booze tastes really sweet for some reason, Naruto thought to himself. It took him a few seconds to connect the dots before he shouted out, Kana, that's not apple juice. But Naruto was too late, since she finished drinking the rest of the beer within the glass. Kana set her glass down and looked at Naruto. That was delicious. Can I have more of that drink? She asked eagerly. Good God, I created an alcoholic. Naruto thought to himself. He then face-palmed himself. Erza giggled to herself before walking away. She wasn't paying attention to where she was going though and walked into another person. She fell down the ground with the person she bumped into. I'm sorry for. What the hell was that for, you klutzy bitch? A girl screamed at her. Who are you? Erza asked. I'm Mirajane. Now I'm gonna teach you a lesson in not bumping into others. Mirajane replied. Erza stood up. So you're the girl who Natsu said he fought? Yes, I was. Why does it matter to you? Is he your boyfriend? Mira teased, which made Erza blush. Shut up, skank. Erza cried out before tackling Mira. Both girls proceeded to brawl each other, much to the shock to everyone who was watching. Makarov came over to the table that Naruto and a now inebriated Kana sat at. Well, Naruto, little Erza found her first rival. Aren't you proud? Makarov asked. Naruto looked at Makarov with a serious expression before grinning laughing like a maniac. This is ridiculous. Apparently everyone who is in my family gains a rival. Now it's including those who live with me. Naruto just chuckled to himself. Makarov nodded to this and went over to Mira and Erza. He then used his Titan magic on his hands and picked each of the girls in one of his hands. Alright, you two, fight's over. Let me go. I need to make that bitch pay. Mira shouted. I'm gonna kill you, slut. Erza retorted. Hey Maki, could you drop Erza over here? I'll take her back home. You deal with Mira. Naruto said to Makarov. Okay then, Naruto. Makarov dropped Erza into Naruto's arms. Naruto then locked his grip so Erza couldn't get out and go after Mira again. Oh, and Maki, you have dealt with Kana being drunk. Goodbye. Naruto then ran out of the guild with Erza in his arms. What did he mean by Kana being drunk? Right as Makarov said that, he heard a bottle crash to the floor. Get me more of that good juice. Kana slurred. Oh damn it, Naruto! Makarov screamed. Meanwhile, in a cave, 2 people were meeting with one another. One had a black hooded cloak with a red cloud on it. The other wore a white cloak. So how long will it take before you get the ceiling array up and ready for our target? The man in the black cloak asked. It's going to take 7 to 8 years. The man in the white cloak hissed. That's more than enough time to accomplish all our tasks. Thank you, my friend. The man in black said as he turned to leave. It was no problem, my friend. Under the man in white's hood gleamed yellow slitted eyes evilly. Chapter 7, A Dragon's Egg? Natsu woke up from his hammock in happiness. He finally learned how to do the Rasengan. He sat up from his hammock and stretched his hand before himself. He then concentrated and managed to form a fiery Rasengan in the palm of his hand. He then let the energy disperse and got out of his bed. Across from himself he saw that Erza was sleeping. Natsu thought of waking up Erza, but he realized that it would probably be a bad idea. He then got out of his bed and looked through his window to see that it was still dark with the sun barely peeking from the horizon. Better go train, Natsu said to himself as he left his room. He then walked into the kitchen and opened the fridge. He grabbed a few pieces of ham and heated them up with his magic. He ate the food and left the house. Alright, time to train with the Rasengan, Natsu shouted out. He then formed it in his hand and ran at a nearby tree. It collapsed from the force of the Rasengan while also being lit on fire. Sweet, this is totally stronger than my fire dragon iron fist, Natsu then formed another Rasengan and rushed at another nearby tree. Natsu did this on a few more trees while laughing maniacally. Natsu was sweating from all the energy he used with those few Rasengans. Okay, one more and I'm done. Natsu formed a slightly larger Rasengan than those previously, and rushed at the last tree. When it toppled, Natsu started to walk away until something hit his head, causing him to collapse. What the hell hit me? Natsu looked behind himself to see a large egg with strange markings on it. Natsu went over to the egg and inspected it. This looks like a dragon egg. This is awesome. I've got a dragon's egg. Natsu cried out in joy. He grabbed the egg with both of his hands and ran towards the guild. When Natsu made it to the guild, he opened the door to see everyone sitting around. Natsu charged in with his biggest grin and shouted out, "I've got a dragon's egg, everybody." Naruto looked over from the bar where he was conversing with Makarov to see Natsu's egg. While Natsu said that Naruto used his Rinnegan to see the energy of the creature within the egg and it looked like a cat. Naruto chuckled to himself at this. Hey Natsu, are you planning on raising your dragon? Naruto said with a smirk on his face. Totally Gramps. When it hatches I'm gonna teach it to be awesome like I am. Natsu replied. He then felt the egg being removed from his grasp. He looked behind himself to see that Mirajane had taken the egg. Hey, what the hell? Natsu shouted at Mira. Oh, are you sure you want to raise this egg? We could have a great omelet with an egg this big. Mira said with a malicious grin on her face. Leave Natsu alone, you slut. Mira turned to see Erza had an angry expression on her face. What are you going to do about it? Mira said with a mocking grin. This. Erza rushed at an unsuspecting Mira and grabbed the egg from her hands. Erza then tossed the egg to Natsu, who caught it. Let's go Natsu, Erza said while facing Mira. Natsu stood behind her. Alright Erza. Natsu gulped, feeling the tension between the two girls. Natsu ran over to Makarov and Naruto. Erza followed when she was sure that Mira wouldn't retaliate. Mira walked away from Erza and over to her siblings. Hey Gramps, do you know how to raise an egg? Natsu asked. Well, I know you have to keep it warm. Do you know anything, Maki? Naruto asked Makarov. No, that's basically all I know. Makarov replied. So I just need to keep it warm. Then I can do that easily. Natsu said in reply while lighting his hands on fire. No! You can't do that. Natsu turned over to see that Lisanna had rushed over and blocked the egg protectively. Then how do I keep it warm? Natsu asked confused. You have to keep it warm like this. Lisanna then transformed into a giant bird and sat on the egg. You just need to make sure that the egg doesn't get cold. That's all that's needed. Thanks Lisanna. Natsu said. It's alright Natsu. Lisanna replied. Lisanna, come over here, we're leaving. I just got us a mission. Mira shouted from the guild entrance with a piece of paper clutched in one hand. Elfman stood next to Mira. Okay, coming Mira. Sorry I can't stay longer Natsu, but I have to go. Lisanna said sadly. She then transformed back into her normal self and ran off to where Mira and Elfman were. Well, I'd better keep this egg warm. Hey Gramps, could you make some blankets for me? Natsu asked with his attention now focused on Naruto. Sure Natsu. Naruto set his drink down, put his hands together and much to the amazement of everyone besides Natsu and Erza, created a pile of blankets for Natsu. There you go, now could you leave me alone to drink? Naruto said while grabbing his mug and sipping. Thanks Gramps. Natsu said before setting his egg down and surrounding it in a makeshift nest. Erza walked over to Natsu and looked at the nest which was sloppily made. Natsu, you can't leave openings like this. Erza said to Natsu as she fixed the blankets up into a much more secure nest. Thanks Erza. Natsu said blushing slightly. Natsu, we're going to need to move the egg to a more secure place. So let's bring it back home. Erza said to Natsu in a commanding tone. Natsu grabbed the egg and blankets into arms and both Natsu and Erza left the guild hall. Maki, I'm going to be gone tomorrow. Could you watch the kids until I'm back? Naruto asked Makarov. Sure, but what's so important tomorrow that you have to leave? Makarov questioned back. My birthday. Was Naruto's only reply. His eyes were fixed on his drink, as if remembering something. Why wouldn't you want the kids to celebrate your birthday? Makarov asked in confusion. It would just bring up too many bad memories. Just make sure to not tell them about it. Naruto said. Alright. But I'd better get an explanation from you one day. Makarov replied. Meanwhile Natsu and Erza were setting up a nest inside their room. Alright Natsu, now that we have the egg set up we'll take turns watching it. Okay Erza. What do we do next? Natsu asked. We'll watch the egg together, okay Natsu. Erza said smiling. Alright. After that was said Natsu and Erza watched the egg until the sun went down. Hey Erza, do you know where Gramps is? Natsu asked in confusion. No, he usually would be back by now. Erza said similarly confused. Then what could have happened to him? Natsu asked until both kids heard a knock at the door. Who is it? Erza asked. It's me Makarov, now let me in. They heard Makarov reply from behind the door. Natsu got up from his sitting position on the floor and opened the door for Makarov. Why are you here, old man? Natsu asked bluntly. Well, Naruto asked me to watch you two tomorrow. Makarov replied. He then went to the kitchen where Natsu followed. Erza got off the ground and went with them as well. Master, why isn't Grandpa home yet? Erza asked Makarov, who was rifling through their fridge for food. Makarov stuck his head out with a chicken leg in one hand. Oh, he is going on a mission tomorrow. Makarov replied before eating the chicken leg. Why did Gramps leave us for this mission and not bring us? That is just stupid. Natsu said in anger. Well, he took an S-class mission so he would be unable to bring you too. Makarov said in an effort to placate Natsu. Okay, old man. Well, I'm gonna watch the egg. Erza, you coming? Natsu asked. Sure, Natsu, see you later, master. Erza and Natsu then ran out of the kitchen and into their bedroom where they proceeded to keep watch over the egg. Makarov checked in on them later during the night to see both of them curled up next to each other with the egg between them. Makarov chuckled lightly at this before he silently closed the door behind him. The next morning Makarov was the first awake reading an orange book that he found in Naruto's room. There was blood dripping slightly from his nose as well as a huge blush on his face. Naruto, I don't know where you got this book, but it's a piece of art. Makarov giggled perversely as he continued to read the book until he heard the door open. He looked up slightly from his reading material to find Naruto, except that his usually pristine white cloak was dirty and covered in was that vomit. The worst part of Naruto was his eyes. They held great bags under them and were red and puffy. What the hell happened to you, Naruto? Makarov said, shocked at how his friend looked so terrible. Try a few hundred bottles of whiskey, and you'll have my day in a nutshell. Now if you'll excuse me, I'll be in my room sleeping off a hangover. Naruto then staggered his way into his room. Makarov heard Naruto shut the door. He then went back to reading the orange book, all the while giggling. Natsu woke up from sleep to see that Erza was cuddling him like a stuffed animal. He tried to move, but that only made Erza hug him even tighter. This is like a death trap, Natsu thought to himself as he struggled to escape Erza. Erza, you need to wake up, Natsu said into Erza's ear. She slightly moved, but it wasn't enough to wake her. Erza, wake up, Natsu shouted into Erza's ear. Her eyes shot open immediately after that, only to find the position that she and Natsu were in. She let go of him with a large blush on her face. Never speak of that to anyone, Erza said to Natsu while looking slightly scary. Why, yes, ma'am, Natsu replied. Natsu and Erza both heard laughing from the doorway of their room. Wow, Natsu, you two aren't even dating, but Erza still has you whipped, they heard Makarov say. What does whipped mean? Natsu asked Makarov. You'll find out when you're older, Makarov replied. He then went back to reading the orange book in his hands. Master, what is that book that you're reading? Erza asked. It's a masterpiece, that's what it is, Makarov replied before handing her the book. Apparently it was written by a genius named Jiraiya. I found this in Naruto's room. Erza proceeded to open the book and read the contents inside. She gained a large blush on her face before she proceeded to pass out. Erza. Old man, what happened to Erza? Natsu asked while holding Erza's limp body in his hands. Oh, it's nothing. She just couldn't handle reading this piece of art, Makarov replied before taking the orange book and reading it. I'll be heading to the guild now. Come by when you can. Makarov was about to leave before he turned around. Also, Natsu, Naruto is back. He's sleeping in his room. Makarov then left their room, all the while giggling, which slightly frightened Natsu. I will never get over that giggle, Natsu said to himself. He then started to lightly slap Erza in order to wake her up. After the fifth slap she came to. Hey Erza, let's grab our egg and head to the guild, Natsu said, which Erza agreed to. Erza grabbed the egg and both of them left the house and headed to the guild. On their walk through the forest, both Natsu and Erza were unable to look at each other without blushing. It made the trip very awkward for them both. They continued with their walking until they heard a crash. What was that, Erza? Natsu asked nervously. I don't know, Natsu, but let's stick together, Erza replied. She then re-equipped a small gray claymore in her free hand while the egg was in the other. Both kids were on their guard as they walked through the forest. Suddenly above them they heard branches snapping, so they jumped out of the way. The creature created a crater from where it landed. Inside was a large ape-like being. It had purple skin, green fur, large pointed ears, a large horn. There were 3 pink hearts on its arms, and finally pure white eyes. Who travel in my forest? The being asked. We're just trying to get to our guild, you stupid monkey, Natsu shouted back. You must give me something to go through my forest, the creature replied. Its attention was then caught on the large egg that Erza was carrying in her left arm. Give me egg or else. Natsu, we need to be careful. It's a powerful monster known as a Gorian, Erza said to Natsu. Whatever it is, it's not getting our egg. Natsu ran at the Gorian and punched it as hard as he could. Haha, you very weak. The Gorian then hit Natsu into the ground. Natsu groaned in pain as he was lifted up off the ground and thrown into a tree. Natsu got up off the ground. This the best you have, you're boring, the Gorian stated as he yawned. I'm the son of the fire dragon Igneel, and grandson of Naruto. I'm not going to lose to an overgrown monkey like you. Natsu charged at the Gorian and started to punch it. The Gorian slapped Natsu over to Erza. Erza looked horrified at how Natsu was being beaten. Natsu, use your magic, Erza shouted at him. I don't need it to beat this monkey. This is our egg that we've been raising together. That means that it's our kid that I'm protecting, Natsu replied to Erza. Alright Natsu, But if you can't beat that Gorian, I'm going to join in. Erza replied. Okay, Erza. Hey Gorian, when I'm done with you, I'm gonna paint your ass white and send you to Mount Hako. Natsu said, taunting the Gorian. The Gorian gray angry at this statement and charged at Natsu. I'm gonna kill you, brat. Natsu jumped out of the way and the Gorian ran past him into a tree. It rubbed its head in pain, but Natsu didn't let it get back up. He proceeded to jump on top of its head and started beating it. The Gorian eventually fell unconscious from the mass trauma to its head. I beat it, Erza. Natsu fell unconscious from the damage he took. Erza smiled. Natsu would make a good father. Wait, where did that come from? Erza thought to herself. She put her sword back into her storage space. She then grabbed Natsu in her right arm and dragged him back home. The next day Erza and Natsu woke up holding one another like yesterday. They immediately separated and got up. They went into the kitchen. Inside, Naruto was sitting with an ice pack on his head. Gramps, I fought a Gorian. It was totally awesome. Natsu exclaimed. Okay Natsu, could you not scream? Naruto moaned while holding his head. What's wrong with your head, Grandpa? Erza asked. I got smashed in the head repeatedly by a monster, more like an alcoholic monster, Naruto replied. So how is your egg? Naruto asked. Oh, it's great. It's gonna hatch very soon. You'll see. Natsu said eagerly. Natsu, we're going to the guild. I want to get some of the cake there. Erza said to Natsu in a commanding tone which left no room for argument. Aye, sir. I'll bring the egg as well. Natsu saluted and ran off. Naruto chuckled at this before grabbing his head due to the throbbing. Natsu came out of his room with the egg in his arms. I'm ready, Erza, can we go now? Natsu asked. Yes, Natsu, you go on ahead, I'll catch up in just a minute. Erza told Natsu. Natsu nodded and ran out of the house. When Erza heard the door close, she looked at Naruto. Where were you last night? Erza asked Naruto. I was killing a monster. Naruto replied to Erza with a straight face. Internally though, he was sweating. Then why do you smell like liquor and vomit? Erza questioned. Erza, don't do this with me right now. I'll tell you when you get older, alright? Naruto told Erza. Fine. But I will get my answers one day. Erza then left Naruto alone in a huff. Naruto got up from his seat and got some coffee from a pot that was already pre-made. God, I love shadow clones. Naruto then opened his mouth and poured the whole contents down his throat. Wow, that was a good kick. He then left his house and headed towards the guild while being partially hopped up on caffeine. At the guild, Erza and Mirajane were fighting each other while everyone else watched. Natsu, are we going to stop this? A nervous Gray asked Natsu while hiding under a table with him. Oh hell no. I'm not dying just yet. Natsu replied. Both remained silent and watched the fight play out. Take this, you stupid bitch. Erza grabbed Mira and threw her at the table that Natsu and Gray were hiding under. Oh shit. Both screamed as the table broke under Mira, which crushed Natsu and Gray into the floor. The egg rolled away from Natsu, pushing it at the last minute. No, my egg! Natsu cried out. Erza noticed this and ran at the egg, which rolled away. Don't worry, I've got it, Erza said as she snatched the egg from the ground. As she said this, Mira jumped from the table and jumped at Erza. This made the egg slip out of Erza's grip and fly into the air. No! Natsu got up from the ground and jumped for the egg. He was a few inches short, unfortunately, and instead slid on the hardwood floor. The egg, on the other hand, fell from the air and landed on Natsu's head. Gray saw this and got up from his position on the ground, put his hands together, and shouted, Ice make, slide, which created an icy slide from where the egg sat precariously on Natsu's head, all the way to Gray's feet. The egg slid towards Gray's feet, which he picked up. I got it, you should keep better track of your things, Flame Brain. Gray said to Natsu. Shut it, stripper. Natsu got up from the floor and looked at Gray. Give me the egg, Gray. Natsu asked. Gray threw the egg towards Natsu, which he caught. Then all the members in the guild heard a loud crack. Natsu looked down into his hands and saw that the egg had a crack in it. The crack then grew bigger. Oh shit, the egg is cracking. Natsu was freaking out and running around with the egg in his hands. Natsu, calm down, Naruto said as he went through the guild entrance. Your egg isn't cracking, it's hatching. Natsu stopped running and looked at Naruto in excitement. Erza, the egg is hatching. Natsu screamed out. Erza just chuckled slightly. Alright Natsu, set the egg down and wait for it to hatch. Erza ordered Natsu. He did that and watched the egg crack more and more. Erza and the other children joined in and circled around the egg to watch it hatch. Then out of the egg came a blue cat with pure white wings. It's not a dragon. No, it's a cat. Are those wings? This was said by the members of the guild who were watching this happen. Who cares? We now have a new member of the guild, Natsu said as the cat flew into his arms and fell asleep. All the guild members cried out in joy at their newest member joining the guild family. So Natsu, what are we going to name him? Erza said next to him. Natsu looked Erza in her eyes. I'm going to name him Happy, Natsu replied. Natsu and Erza saw a shadow covering them. They looked behind themselves and saw Naruto standing there. Well, I guess I have another mouth to feed. All three of them smiled at this. Could I paint this? A man with curly brown hair, a black wizard hat with a yellow base, a white shirt and dark pants asked. Sure, read us. Naruto replied. All the kids gathered around and read us painted them all. I'll make Happy look like a dragon in this. He thought to himself. Well, my trip was moved to next week, so I'll be gone on Sunday. The good part of this is I'll be able to write 1 or 2 chapters by the end of the week. Other than that, comment and have fun. On another note, I have almost finished deciding what to do about Naruto's pairing. So, be afraid, be very afraid, muhahaha. Naruto, shut up. Hey, don't ruin my fun. Goes into a corner. Naruto, well, since Tentailed is in an emo corner, I'm gonna need to pick up the slack, lazy asshole. I heard that. Naruto, I don't care. So see ya guys later. Natsu Dragneel after a couple of years had grown from the small kid he was before to a young man. Unfortunately, he was on the ground moaning. Natsu, we made it to Harjin. Happy told Natsu. He grew up from being the tiny kitten to a normal-sized blue-furred cat. He also wore a green backpack. Excuse me, are you alright? The train conductor asked. He's fine, this always happens when he travels on trains. Happy replied enthusiastically. Why is it that I always get sick on trains now and nothing else? Gramps' training was bullshit. Natsu moaned out before his cheeks puffed up from the vomit that wanted to come out. He swallowed it back down with some effort. If our information is correct, then the salamander should be here. Let's go. Happy said as he walked off the train. Just give me a minute. Natsu said after he managed to get up and lean out of the window of the train. Happy walked off the train, but the whistle of the train made him turn back around to see the terrified face of Natsu, who was still stuck on the train. And oh! Natsu screamed out as the hellhole known as the train took off with him still on it. Happy looked at this indifferently. Oh, there he goes, he said to himself as the train took off. On the other side of town a girl screamed at a shopkeeper. What? You're telling me there is only one magic shop in this entire town? The girl in question was named Lucy Heartfilia, and she had blonde hair which was tied up in a blue ribbon on the right side of her head, and blue eyes. She wore a white sleeveless shirt with a collar that had blue on all its edges, as well as a blue cross that went down the middle of her shirt and across her large bust. She wore a blue miniskirt and a brown belt that held a whip and a brown pouch. Afraid so, the people round here are more fishing folk than they are magic folk. I reckon most people around town don't even know how to use magic. This shop is more for the wizards who happen to be passing by. Lucy sighed in disappointment at this. And I came all this way for nothing. Now, don't say that, the shopkeeper replied as he started rummaging behind his desk. I have all the latest goods, now let me show you. He then pulled out a pink tablet. This color's magic is pretty popular. It lets you change the colors of your clothes anytime you want. He then demonstrated as he activated the tablet, which activated a magic seal that changed his brown clothes to purple. I already have one of those, the girl replied. What I really want are some powerful gate keys. Gate keys, huh? That's a rare request. Lucy smiled in happiness as he pulled out a brown box and opened it, revealing a silver key. Oh wow, it's one of a little doggy. Lucy exclaimed in excitement. Yes it is, but it's not very powerful. The shopkeeper replied. I know, but I really want it. So how much? Lucy asked. 20,000 jewel. The shopkeeper replied without skipping a beat. I'm sorry, but how much was that again? Lucy asked with slight disappointment. 20,000 jewel. The shopkeeper said once again. Lucy in quick thinking sat herself on the desk in a sexy pose. Oh come on, how much is it really? Surely you can cut me a deal? She asked in a sultry voice. Lucy was now stomping outside in a huff. Ugh, I can't believe he only knocked off 1,000 jewel. Stubborn old geezer must be blind. That trick usually works. She continued like this until she heard below herself the cries of many girls. Lucy then heard from a few passing girls as they screamed out, Are you serious? Salamander is really here. Lucy then thought to herself for a moment before thinking aloud, Salamander, as in the wizard who uses fire magic which you can't even buy in stores. Wow. She then rushed down towards the crowd. Natsu at the time was trudging down the streets of Harjin. He wore a green backpack with a blanket rolled up on top of it, and a red cloak which had black flames on the bottom of it. Under that he wore an unzipped navy blue waistcoat with gold trimming, a brown belt. Under the waistcoat he wore a pair of white pants and sandals. I ended up riding the train twice. Natsu stated unhappily. You've got to get over your motion sickness on trains. That's the one thing that neither Naruto nor Erza can train out of you. Happy replied to Natsu. I know, but it's not gonna work. Natsu said unhappily. I'm so hungry right now from that train ride though. It's too bad that we don't have any money for food. Happy said to Natsu. Happy, do you think the salamander here is dad or just a pretender? Natsu asked seriously. I don't know, Natsu, we'll find out when we get there. Happy said to Natsu with a smile on his face. Both Natsu and Happy then heard the sounds of many girls screaming down the street, with some of them saying Salamander. Both Natsu and Happy looked at one another. Salamander, they said to each other excitedly. They both started running towards the mass of girls. We're in luck today, Happy. Natsu shouted to Happy. Aye. Happy replied. Lucy was at the moment looking through the crowd for Salamander. I wonder where he is. Lucy trailed off at this thought as she saw a man with blue hair and a tattoo above his black eyes. He wore a dark high-collared cape with designs on the outside of it, and was being held together by a flame-styled fastener. Beneath the cape he wore a light short-sleeved shirt with red pinstriped pants and polished dark shoes. The moment Lucy saw the man she had hearts in her eyes and squealed in a fangirlish manner, and joined the masses of other girls who surrounded him. "Igneel!" a voice yelled from the crowd. And out came Natsu with an excited look on his face. The minute he saw Salamander his mouth formed a frown. "You're not Igneel." This caused two things to happen. The first was that Lucy snapped out of her fangirlish state. The second was that all the other girls had huge glares all directed on Natsu. The girls then charged at Natsu in order to pummel him. "What was it something I said?" he cried out as he then jumped into the air away from the fangirls. Girls, all is forgiven. He must not be used to meeting a famous wizard like myself. Here, have an autograph." The Salamander then handed Natsu an autograph signed Salamander to him. "I don't want it," Natsu replied bluntly. This angered the fangirls to such a degree that one threw a rock at an unsuspecting Natsu. "Ow!" he cried out. He was dazed from the momentary assault which gave the fangirls the needed time to rush him and beat him up. The Salamander then was lifted up on a trail of purple flames. "Girls, if you wish to spend more time with me, then come to my yacht tonight." With that he flew away from the girls who were pummeling Natsu. After their work was done, they threw him by a trash can. Natsu groaned to himself as he tried to stand up. Happy joined up to Natsu and looked at his friend. "That wasn't Igneel, was it?" Happy asked in a depressed tone. "No, it wasn't," Natsu replied sourly until he heard his stomach rumble. "Wow, I'm really hungry. Wish I had money," Natsu said to himself. "Hey, would you two like to get something to eat?" Lucy asked the duo. Later at a restaurant, Lucy was trying to talk to Natsu, who was at the moment shoving large piles of food into his mouth. "So Natsu, why are you here anyway?" Lucy asked Natsu. Natsu swallowed what was in his mouth. "I'm looking for my dad Igneel," Natsu replied. "Oh, what does he look like? I might be able to help you," Lucy asked. "Oh, he's a large red fire dragon," Natsu replied nonchalantly. Lucy just looked at Natsu as if he was crazy. "And you thought you would find him here?" Lucy yelled at Natsu. "Yeah, I did, but I guess I was wrong." "So lackey, why are you giving me unhappy food?" Natsu asked. "First, the name is Lucy, and second, it's a way to thank you. You see, that Salamander was using a ring that used charm magic that causes the victim to fall in love with the user. It was banned years ago due to that," Lucy replied. "I'm actually a mage, but I haven't joined a guild yet. I'm sure that once I join one I'll be able to take jobs and get paid. But anyway, I'm going to leave now." Lucy then paid for the food that Natsu and Happy ate and started to leave. "Wait, Lucy." Both Natsu and Happy were bowing in front of Lucy. "We still need to repay you," Natsu told her. Happy added. "No, it's fine. You helped me, remember?" She replied to them. "But we didn't know that we were," Natsu said to her. "Here, have this." He then showed her the autograph of Salamander. "I don't want this." "Who would?" she said as she left the two of them. Later, on a park bench, Lucy was reading the Sorcerer magazine. Inside the magazine, Lucy was reading about the Rakuta Sennin, a fairy tale. Fairy tales. Rakuta Sennin, one of the most powerful mages of the Fairy Tale Guild, has risen in fame over the past few years. We know very little about this powerful mage besides his only known abilities, which involve being able to control gravity and use an unknown form of creation magic to create objects with his mind. He is usually seen with his grandson, also known as the Salamander. At the end of the article was a picture of a blonde-haired man with purple rippled eyes and whisker marks on his cheeks. He wore a white cloak and held a shakujo. "Wow, so he's the Salamander's grandfather. He looks hot for an old man," Lucy said to herself. She then turned the page to see a photo of Erza Scarlet and Mirajane Strauss together in a photo shoot. Mirajane wore a white bikini while Erza wore a black one with her hair done up with a black bow in a ponytail. This is a first. I've never seen Erza in a photo shoot before, but both look so much sexier than me. How will I ever get into fairy tale? Lucy moaned to herself. "I can get you into fairy tale if you want," someone said from behind her. Lucy turned to see Salamander, who came out from behind a tree. "What are you talking about?" Lucy asked in confusion. "My grandfather and the master are good friends. I can convince my grandfather to help talk the master into allowing you to join. All you need to do though is come to my yacht tonight," the Salamander said to her. Lucy gained a smile on her face from this. It quickly turned into a frown. "Wait, you used that charm spell on me before, why should I trust you?" Lucy questioned. "Oh, that, I was just messing around. Just come aboard my yacht tonight, and I'll get you into fairy tale," Salamander said with an assuring smile. Lucy thought about that statement for a minute before making her decision. "I'll do it." Salamander beamed at this. "Good, I'll see you tonight then." With that, Salamander was lifted up on purple fire and flew off into the sky. Later during the night, Natsu and Happy were watching from the port as Salamander's ship was taking off. "Well, Happy, this trip turned out to be a complete waste," Natsu said to his companion. "Well, we did make a new friend, even though she is a little weird," Happy replied back. Both were then interrupted by a group of loud girls who were talking amongst themselves. "That Salamander is so awesome. I wish I was on that ship with him. I heard that he's from Fairy Tail. Another girl replied. That's so cool. One exclaimed. Happy and Natsu looked at each other seriously. Now I'm pissed. Happy, what would you say to us crashing a party? Natsu said angrily. I'm a Natsu. On the ship, Lucy was sitting across the table with Salamander. Lucy changed into a red dress with a slit up the side exposing her leg where a red ribbon was tied. She also changed the ribbon in her hair to red as well as wore a matching pair of heels. Lucy, would you care to have a drink? Salamander asked her while pushing a glass of wine to her. Droplets of wine slowly started to float up into the air, which made Lucy start to feel slightly drowsy. She fought off that slight feeling and looked at Salamander in disgust. You're trying to use sleep magic on me, Lucy exclaimed as she shot up from her seat. Salamander raised his hands in a surrendering position. You caught me. When he said that, thugs came out with unconscious girls in their arms. These girls are my merchandise. They will all be sold as slaves, including you, Salamander stated. I will stop you. She then pulled out her celestial gate keys, but they were smacked away into the air by Salamander, who caught them as they fell. Unfortunately for me, I can't use these keys since you already have the contract for them. Basically, they are useless. With that said, he tossed the keys overboard. Tears came into Lucy's eyes at this. Is this what Fairy Tail is really like? I can't believe this, you're the worst mage ever, she screamed. Salamander merely chuckled at this. Unfortunately for you though, you're going to be sold. A pretty girl like you will fetch a nice price. A thug then grabbed her from behind and held her while Salamander went to a fireplace and brought out an hot brand. This will only hurt for a moment, he said as the brand inched to her slowly. Suddenly Natsu smashed through the roof of the ship and landed before Salamander. Well, Salamander, I'm here to kick your ass. He looked behind himself to see that Lucy was still being held by a thug. I recommend you let go of my friend before I have to hurt you. The thug looked at Natsu like he was crazy until he felt a burning on his forehead. It hurts, it hurts. The thug screamed as he jumped overboard in order to relieve himself of the burning. Happy, get Lucy out of here, Natsu said sternly. Natsu. Happy then wrapped his tail around Lucy's stomach and flew out of the ship. Natsu turned back to look at Salamander. So you're from Fairy Tail, huh? Natsu asked. Why, yes I am, Salamander said to Natsu. Natsu's body then heated up enough to let everyone in the room feel it. I'm gonna kick your ass. Suddenly the whole ship rocked back and forth until it launched into the air. Shit. Everyone on the ship screamed. A few minutes earlier, Happy was flying Lucy out of the ship. Hey Lucy, bad time to say this, but my magic is about to wear out. What? Lucy screamed as Happy's white wings disappeared. They both fell into the ocean. Lucy continued to dive deep into the water due to the speed at which she fell from the sky. When she was almost at the bottom, she saw a glint which she swam to. Lucy was elated since she found her keys. She grabbed them and swam to the surface. Happy soon followed. Happy, I got my keys, now I can help Natsu. Lucy, I don't think you should. Happy was interrupted as Lucy lifted a gold key into the air. Open gate of the water bearer. Aquarius. In a flash of golden light, a mermaid with a blue tail and hair. To complete the look, she wore a blue bikini top. In her hands she held a gourd. Aquarius, I need you to help me move that ship to the port, Lucy told her. Oh, you want me to help? I'll help. Aquarius then used her gourd to create a giant wave which took Lucy with it. You're supposed to get them, not me, Lucy shouted. The wave took the ship as well as Lucy and Happy towards the port. The wave then crashed into the port with the ship. Lucy regained her bearings after a few seconds and saw the boat upside down on the beach with the thugs and Salamander getting up off the ground. She then saw Natsu get up from the rubble on top of the ship. Happy jumped on Lucy's shoulder and she rushed towards Natsu. Natsu! Natsu ignored her cry and instead stared at Salamander and his men. So you claim to be a member of the Fairy Tail Guild? So what's it to you? Get him, men, Salamander stated. Let me get a closer look at your face. Natsu then removed his cloak and let it drop to the ground. As he did that, two of Salamander's men rushed at Natsu. Watch out, Lucy cried. Don't worry about him, I should have told you this earlier, but he's a wizard too, Happy said while munching on a fish. Lucy's jaw dropped at this. As that happened, the two men who rushed at Natsu were smacked aside. Natsu then narrowed his eyes. My name is Natsu, I'm a fairy tale wizard and I have never seen you before, he bellowed out. You've got to be kidding me, so Natsu is a fairy tale wizard? Lucy exclaimed. That mark on his arm, this guy is the real deal, Bora. One of the thugs of the now named Bora cried out. Don't call me that, you fool, Bora shouted back. I know that name, that's Bora the Prominence. Rumor has it he was kicked out the Titan Nose Guild years ago because of bad behavior, Happy said with his arms crossed. I have no idea what you're trying to do here, and I don't care if you're a good guy or a bad guy. I'm not gonna let you dirty Fairy Tail's name without getting beaten for it, Natsu said while walking towards Bora in a steady pace. So what are you gonna do about it? Prominence Typhoon. Bora then launched a vortex of purple flames at Natsu which caused an explosion. Natsu! Lucy cried out as she rushed to help him. Instead, Happy got in her way which stopped her. That's the way it goes, the bigger the talk the weaker the man. Bora turned away from the burning ship and was about to leave, except he then heard Natsu. Yeef, this is so gross. Are you really a fire wizard? Because these flames are the nastiest flames I've ever tasted. Natsu casually replied as he ate Bora's fire. Bora and Lucy's jaws dropped at this. When Natsu finished, he had a big fanged grin. Thanks for the grub, poser. Happy stared at Natsu as he did this. Fire magic doesn't work on Natsu, you're basically just pissing him off. Now I've got a fire in my belly that's raging to get out. Natsu then put his hands in front of his mouth and blew out a massive torrent of fire. Fire dragon's roar. The attack destroyed the area and all the thugs were on the ground defeated. Bora was floating in the air on his flames. Boss, I remember who he is. Scaly scarf and pink hair, this is the real deal. Natsu is Salamander. Lucy cried out in shock. Natsu then lifted his hand in the air, which formed a large spiraling flaming sphere. What is that? Lucy asked Happy. That is his most powerful close-range attack known as the Rasengan. His grandfather taught him it. Happy replied. Alright, taste my fire dragon, Rasengan. Natsu then rushed at Bora with Rasengan in hand. Bora started throwing fire magic at Natsu in an attempt to stop the attack, but Natsu either ignored it or ate the flames. How is he doing this? Lucy asked in awe. His Dragon Slayer magic allows him to have dragon lungs to breathe fire, dragon scales to help him dissolve the fire, and dragon claws to attack with fire. It allows his body to take on all the qualities of a dragon. It's an ancient spell that is rarely used these days. Seriously, this particular magic was used to deal with dragons. Igneel taught him it. Natsu then rushed at Bora and shoved the Rasengan into Bora's stomach. This launched him into the bell tower and destroyed it as well as the area of the city Natsu was in. That was amazing, but he overdid it. Lucy exclaimed. Happy replied. Oh, shut it. Lucy said back. Knights were coming towards the area and Natsu knew he would get in trouble for the damage. He then rushed towards Lucy and Happy and grabbed Lucy's hand, which dragged her with him. What are you doing? Lucy shouted out. Natsu turned his head back and smiled. You wanted to be a part of the fairy tale guild, didn't you? Then come on. Natsu replied back. Lucy smiled at this. This was the beginning to a beautiful friendship. Chapter 9, A Monkey, a Dragon, and a Tailed Beast. In the location of Erza, the Magic Council was busy arguing about one of their most common annoyances, Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail has done it again, and this time they destroyed a port. An elder man with long white hair and beard as well as his right eye closed. He wore multiple layers of white robes. His name was Org. I agree, these brats keep causing us problems. We should shut their guild down. A short man with brown hair that stuck up like cat ears replied. He had a mustache that had bristled edges. His shirt that he wore was light-colored with stripe-like markings. To complete the ensemble was a pair of dark pants. This man's name was Michello. I disagree, countered a short old man. He wore a three-pronged jester hat with brown long-sleeve brown shirt with black stripes and black pants. He had large gray eyebrows and a square mustache. Fairy Tail may have its ups and downs, but it is watched by responsible elders. Yajima said to the members. I have to agree with Yajima. It has plenty of entertaining members, but all of them are leashed in by its older members. Besides, if Fairy Tail was gone, this world would become so boring. A man with blue hair and a red tattoo under his eye said. This man was Seagrain. Meanwhile in Magnolia, Lucy was ecstatic over what was happening. She was about to arrive at Fairy Tail. Just wait, Lucy, you're gonna love it here, especially when you meet Naruto. He always gives me the best fish to eat. Happy said in a strange trance. So Naruto is Natsu's grandfather, right? Lucy asked Happy. Yeah, he is. Happy replied. Why doesn't Natsu look like Natsu? Lucy asked. Oh well, you'll learn when we get there. Naruto is always by the bar when Natsu gets back. Happy replied. Why is that? Lucy asked. Well, after any mission Natsu does, Naruto always has a bowl of ramen prepared for Natsu's arrival. It's sort of a tradition. Happy replied. Oh, that's nice then. Lucy replied, thinking of an happier time in her life. She was soon enough brought out of this thought process when she heard the door of the guild hall being kicked open. I'm back, everybody. Natsu shouted out. Natsu strode on in and walked to a table where a mage sat. Hey, you gave me bad information. Igneel wasn't there. What about the damage you caused at Harjin? That could have been all from looking for a DRA, the mage replied before getting kicked into a few other guild members. The guild members who he crashed into looked at him with the threat of pain in their eyes. It wasn't me. That's when the guild exploded into a massive bar fight. Hey fire bitch, get over here. Grey Fullbuster yelled out at Natsu. During the years, Grey was never able to break his stripping habit. Currently he was only wearing a pair of blue boxers and a necklace. Grey then rushed at Natsu. Hey Grey, you lost your clothes again. Kana Alberona said to Grey while literally drinking a barrel of liquor. She grew up into a beautiful woman, which was accentuated by her attire of a bikini top and tight brown pants. Natsu then rushed in and punched Grey while he wasn't looking, only to immediately be punched by Elfman. Quit punching people like a girl, Natsu, you need to do it like a man. He grew up to be the tallest member. He now wore a blue-collared coat and matching pants with a red shirt underneath. He gained a scar under his right eye over the years. That's what she said. Natsu shouted back until he crashed into a figure sitting at the bar while eating a bowl of ramen. This caused the bowl to spill onto the ground. The whole bar fight stopped at that moment. Everyone in the guild then stared at the spilled bowl on the floor. Shinra Tensei. The person said, and everyone inside the guild was blasted onto the ground. So which one of you brats started this fight? The man asked. Everyone in the guild pointed at Natsu, even Lucy. What the hell, guys? Why did you rat me out? Natsu shouted. He then was lifted up by the man from his scarf. Natsu, what did I say about starting bar fights in the guild when Ramen is present? The man asked. Don't do it or I'll get my ass kicked. Natsu replied grimly. Good boy, now you know what I'm gonna do? The man asked Natsu while turning towards the guild doors with Natsu in hand. Please, not too hard. I want to be able to walk this week. Natsu said meekly. Yeah. The man then kicked Natsu in his ass, which launched him out of the guild. Everyone could hear Natsu scream and then the crash that followed. Lucy looked at the man who kicked Natsu. You're the Rikudo Sennin! Lucy shouted out. The man turned towards Lucy with a smile on his face. Just call me Naruto. Titles make me feel old. Naruto replied. Aren't you already old, Naruto? Happy cheekily replied. Naruto's smile went into a frown instantly. A dark shadow fell over Naruto's face, making it seem like his rippled eyes were glowing. Happy, what have I said about mentioning my age? Naruto said creepily. And not to, since it's impolite. Happy said in fear. Good, Naruto said, which caused the creepy aura in the area to disappear. So who are you? Naruto asked, changing the subject. There is nobody sane inside Fairy Tail, Lucy cried internally. Hello, I'm Lucy. I'm here to become a member. She replied with a smile. That's great. Naruto replied. I do have one question though. Lucy told Naruto. What is it? Naruto asked. Are you really Natsu's grandfather? She asked him. Yeah, I am. I don't understand why that is such a big deal. Naruto replied while scratching the back of his head. What's your secret? How do you look so young? She asked in a serious tone. Naruto's sweat dropped at this. Eat healthy and work out. He replied uncertainly. Also, Natsu said his father was a dragon. Could you explain that to me? Is that just a title or something that Natsu's father had? Lucy asked Naruto. No. That's not it at all. Lucy sighed at this. Well, that's good, so Natsu was Jew. Igneel is a fire dragon. It's completely different from a normal average dragon. Naruto said as if talking about the weather. Lucy's jaw dropped at this. But how can you sun dragon? Oh, I think you broke her, Naruto. Happy noted. Naruto nodded at this. Just a sec, Happy, I gotta take care of something. Hey Makarov, you owe me 100 jewel. Naruto shouted up to the second floor of the guild. Naruto outstretched his hand and caught a bag of money thrown at him. This was quickly followed by the man himself jumping down to the bottom floor. Damn it, Naruto, how is it that you know when Natsu will start a fight? Makarov asked. I'm his grandfather, it's part of the job description. Naruto replied. Naruto, where is the master? Lucy asked shyly. Both men turned to look at Lucy, then at one another. I am the master of Fairy Tail. Makarov stated proudly. This shocked Lucy slightly. Aren't you a little small to be master? Lucy asked innocently. Naruto started chuckling. Wow, Maki, she's got you there. Naruto said to Makarov. Makarov on the other hand glared at Naruto. Shut up. Wait till you have an old body like mine, then we'll see what happens. Makarov replied to Naruto. Yeah, right. Anyway, Lucy, you wish to join Fairy Tail. Well, we can do that, right, Maki? Naruto said to Makarov. That's right, Naruto. Alright, just wait a second. Makarov then jumped into the air in a back flip before he smashed his head into the railing of the second floor of the guild. Wow, Maki! Didn't any of my acrobatic lessons teach you anything? Naruto said before chuckling. Yeah, just shut up. Makarov stated in a serious tone. As he said that, Natsu rushed back into the guild hall. Gramps, what did I miss? Natsu asked as if he wasn't just kicked out of the guild hall minutes prior. Naruto chuckled at this. Oh, Maki is gonna have a speech. Then Lucy is joining the guild. Naruto whispered at Natsu. With that, Makarov spoke in a loud voice that echoed throughout the hall. You did it again, you brats. Look at all the wonderful documents I received from the council, he said sarcastically as he pulled out a large pile of documents from his coat. All you brats ever do is get the council angry at me. Elfman, you punched one of our clients in the face. Makarov yelled. He said that a real man is all about studying. Elfman retorted. Gray, after you finished your job, you ran all throughout the area naked. Naruto chuckled at this. I couldn't find my clothes, they just disappeared. Gray replied. Loki, you got into an affair with one of our clients. She was the daughter of a councilman. Naruto looked at Loki and facepalmed himself. Really, he couldn't keep it in his pants for a day. Naruto thought to himself. Natsu! Makarov screamed loudly. What? Natsu asked confused. You just recently destroyed a whole harbor. I don't even think you were trying with that one. Makarov stated. He then looked at Naruto. Seriously, why couldn't you teach him self-restraint? Well, it's a family thing. He replied back. Whatever. Regardless of all this, I have one thing to say. Makarov raised his hand holding all the documents, and lit them all on fire. He then tossed it into the air, which Natsu jumped after and ate. Any power that surpasses reason comes from reason, right? Magic isn't some kind of miraculous power. It is a talent that only works when the flow of energy inside you and the flow of energy in the natural world are in perfect synchronization. To perform magic, one must have a strong mind and the ability to focus. It should take over your being and come out of your soul. If all you do is worry about following rules, then Makarov was cut off as Naruto puffed up onto the top floor with Makarov. Our minds and bodies will be out of balance. We will never progress. Don't worry about that annoying council. Follow your own path instead of theirs. Naruto continued. Both men smiled at each other. And that's what makes fairy tale number 1. Both said in perfect synchronization. Both then lifted the arms in the air with their index fingers pointed into the sky. This action was copied by everyone of the guild. Later. Alright Lucy, here you go. Mira said as she stamped a pink fairy tale guild mark onto Lucy's right hand. Wow, I'm officially a member of the fairy tale guild. Lucy said in glee. Congratulations, Lucy. Naruto said from his barstool while sipping on whiskey. I find it interesting that you don't have a quirk to you. Maybe it will develop later on, Naruto said to himself. Wait, what are you talking about? Lucy asked Naruto in confusion. Oh, it's just that everyone in fairy tale has their little quirks that make them individuals. For instance, take Natsu. He's one of the most destructive members of the guild, but that's what makes him Natsu. Understand? Naruto replied. Yeah, I think so. So if that's true, then what's your quirk? Lucy asked. You already saw one of them. Naruto replied back with a smile. Lucy thought on this statement. Where did I see him act crazy? Then she remembered. It's ramen noodles! She exclaimed. Good job, now you found out one of my quirks. Anyway, you should probably see if there's a job available with Natsu. He's been looking for a job partner for a while now, since barely anyone can work that well with his personality besides me and Erza. Naruto stated to Lucy. Why don't you work with him? Lucy asked. It's because I'm too powerful for the jobs that Natsu goes on. If I went on all his jobs, then he wouldn't be able to get stronger. I'm like a crutch. A little is a good thing, but too much, and he'll always rely on me to bail him out. Naruto explained. Then what about Erza? Lucy asked. Erza is on a mission right now. Don't know when she'll back. I'd say any day now. Naruto then went back to his drinking. His face then became expressionless. Wonder why he looks like that. Just before he seemed happy. Lucy thought to herself. She then walked over to where Natsu was. Hey Natsu, I just became a fairy tale wizard, Lucy exclaimed to him. Oh, that's nice, Lucy. Natsu replied. Wow Natsu, you got a new person's name right for once. Happy stated to Natsu. Is it because you liaiki her? Erza wouldn't be too happy about that, Happy said, teasing Natsu. Natsu started to blush at this but controlled himself. No, it's because Erza beat into me the importance of names a while ago. Natsu replied. So Natsu, could you help me with my first job? Lucy asked. Sure Lucy, I'll help. So what job do you want? And Natsu was interrupted by loud shouting. Natsu, Lucy, and Happy turned to see the child Romeo screaming at Makarov. Romeo had dark hair and eyes. He wore a green t-shirt with an S on it, brown shorts, and sandals. Calm down Romeo, you're a wizard's son, your father will be back. Makarov said, trying to placate the child. In response, Romeo jumped in the air and punched Makarov in the nose. Oh! Makarov cried while clutching his nose. Romeo started to run away until he ran into something. He looked up to see a smiling Naruto. At this point, tears started running down his cheeks. Naruto then crouched before Romeo. Hey there buddy, what's got you all upset? Naruto asked in a grandfatherly tone. Romeo sniffed before replying. The old man won't send anyone to look for my daddy. He's always back by now, instead he's probably hurt because of me. Romeo then cried into Naruto's jacket. Naruto wrapped his arms around the child. Shush, this isn't your fault. He said, trying to calm the boy down. I'll get your dad back. It's a promise and you know what I always say, right? Naruto asked Romeo. Romeo looked up at Naruto. Why you never go back on word? Romeo replied. Naruto laughed at this before ruffling Romeo's head. Good boy. Now how about you tell me where your daddy went and I'll go and fetch him back? Naruto said to Romeo. It was Mount Hako. Romeo replied. Naruto stood up from where he was sitting. Natsu, are you coming? We're going on a trip. Naruto said before he outstretched his hand towards the bar, where two things happened. First, the shakujo flew into his hand. This was closely followed by Naruto's mug of alcohol. Lucy gasped at this sight due to Naruto finally using his magic in front of her. Alright Gramps, I'm fired up. Let's go. Natsu said in a serious manner before running to where Naruto was standing. Aye sir. Happy replied as he followed Natsu. Lucy was slightly confused. Hey Mira, Lucy said to the beauty next to her, why are both of them so serious right now? Lucy asked. Oh, it's due to the fact that Natsu's father Igneel left him when he was a young child with Naruto. Mira said sadly. He taught Natsu everything that he would need to know and raised him when he was very little. Due to this, Natsu felt extremely saddened when Igneel left him with his grandfather. He's been living with him ever since. Natsu now dreams to see Igneel once again. Natsu sees a little bit of himself in Romeo, so he wants to make sure that Romeo doesn't suffer like he has. Mira then started to clean an empty mug. Naruto, on the other hand, has apparently suffered from loneliness, and does not wish for Romeo to feel the same. Mira explained to Lucy. Lucy started walking towards the trio. Where are you going, Lucy? Mira asked. Lucy turned her head to look at Mira. I'm going to help them get Romeo's father back, Lucy said with her mind made up. Eventually she reached the trio. So Lucy, you're coming with us, Naruto stated. Lucy nodded with a smile on her face. Alright then, here we go. Naruto then put his thumb to his mouth and bit it, causing blood to drip out. Lucy was shocked at Naruto and his self-mutilation. Summoning jutsu, Naruto shouted out, and a giant puff of smoke appeared before the front gate of the guild hall. This caused all the guild members besides Naruto, Natsu, and Happy to drop their jaws. Before all of them stood a massive orange toad with blue markings and a blue jacket that was taller than the guild itself. Naruto, you're a celestial spirit wizard as well, Lucy shouted out. This caused the trio and the toad to cringe from how loud her voice was. Not exactly. You see, I'm what was known as a summoner. This is due to both a special ability of mine, and because I signed the toad contract, Naruto explained to Lucy. Then how is it so big? Lucy questioned. Well, summons get this size really easily. Naruto turned to the toad before himself. Gamakichi, how are you? Naruto asked while raising his fist towards the giant amphibian. The toad smiled at this and returned the fist bump. Well, it certainly has been a hell of a long time. It's been 9 months since you and Natsu came to visit me. Where is little Erza? Gamakichi asked. Oh, you know kids. They always want to go on new adventures. Naruto replied with a smile. Well, chit-chat aside, why did you summon me? Gamakichi asked. Oh, we need a ride to Mount Hako, Naruto replied. Gamakichi nodded. Climb on then. Let's go. Gamakichi pointed towards the top of his head with his hand. Natsu jumped up on top of the toad with Happy following. Naruto was about to jump until he heard Lucy. Could you please help me up? Lucy asked, embarrassed. Sure, Lucy. Naruto proceeded to walk over to her position and picked her up in his arms bridal style. Naruto in one bound jumped onto Gamakichi's head and set Lucy down. Thanks, Lucy muttered. Alright, first time passenger. Rules of Jump Club are as followed. Don't jump off in mid-jump, don't ride if you have a heart condition, and do not, and I repeat, not vomit on my head. With that said, Gamakichi jumped into the air. Lucy's screams could be heard by all the guild members. A few hours later, our heroes arrived at the snowy base of Mount Hako. The group jumped down from Gamakichi's head. Well, that is all of my time, Naruto. Natsu, visit the toads again, my son really wants to hang out with you, Gamakichi told the both of them. Alright, Uncle Gamakichi. I'll be sure to visit Gamatobu, Natsu replied with a smile on his face. Gamakichi nodded and disappeared in a white puff of smoke. Hey, do you guys have any spare clothes? Lucy asked while shivering. Hey Lucy, why didn't you bring any spare clothes? Natsu retorted while laughing at Lucy's predicament. I didn't think I would need them. Why are you guys freezing? Lucy replied back. I use fire magic, I don't need extra clothes. Natsu replied. My fur keeps me warm. Happy said. I am able to convert my energy source into heat. Naruto said back. He proceeded to take off his white cloak, which revealed a black sleeveless shirt, and put it on Lucy. Lucy's shivering stopped when he did this. Thank you, Naruto, she said. Alright kids, don't move for a few seconds, Naruto ordered the other three. He then closed his eyes and stood absolutely still for a few seconds. Naruto opened his eyes. I found him. This way. Naruto started trudging through the snow. Natsu, what did Naruto do? Lucy asked. Well, Gramps just sensed Mikao through the use of nature energy, Natsu replied. They stopped talking after that. An hour later, the party of four stood before a large cave. Alright, now we don't have that much info on what Mikao was fighting, so we must be careful, and Naruto was saying before he was interrupted. Where's Mikao? Natsu cried out while charging into the cave with his fists on fire. Happy followed close behind him. Naruto face-palmed himself. Fuck it! Change of plans, we're going in hot, Naruto shouted before rushing after Natsu. Lucy just watched in awe. These two truly are related, Lucy thought to herself. She walked into the cave after a moment of consideration, and what she saw was ridiculous. Inside, Natsu punched a Vulcan which looked like a white ape with spots on its arms, a furless gray chest, black legs and tail, and a gray protruding horn from the top of its head. The Vulcan flew to the ceiling where Naruto was standing upside down. Naruto jumped from the ceiling with his knee out, which smashed into the Vulcan's head. But the Vulcan's face did not come away from Naruto's knee due to the fact that Naruto was using chakra in order to keep the Vulcan stuck to his knee. Naruto and the Vulcan then smashed into the ground with enough force that it caused a crater to form in the ice. Naruto jumped out of the crater towards Natsu while the Vulcan dragged itself up. Alright Natsu, finish him off, Naruto said to Natsu with a smile on his face. Thanks Gramps. Natsu said as he stuck his hand out. Flames surrounded his palm and formed into a ball. Fire dragon, Rasengan, Natsu cried out as he charged the Vulcan and shoved the spiraling ball of flame into the Vulcan's stomach. The Vulcan screamed out in pain as it was launched into the icy wall of its cave. Nice job, Natsu, Naruto said, patting him on the back. He walked towards the downed Vulcan and placed his hand upon its head. Leave this man, Naruto said as he ripped out an ethereal blue Vulcan-shaped being. Disappear, was all Naruto said before he crushed the Vulcan's soul. Naruto looked down at the man before him. It was Mikao. He now wore a white trench coat and a necklace which had a S on it. Naruto turned to see Natsu, happy, and Lucy staring at him in awe. Gramps, why didn't you tell me you could do that? Teach it to me, it looks so cool, Natsu said to Naruto in excitement. Lucy on the other hand was wondering how Naruto did that. Sorry Natsu, it's kinda unteachable. But Mikao is back to normal, Naruto said while scratching the back of his head. All four of the group heard a groaning coming from Mikao. Geez, what hit me? Mikao asked while rubbing his head. Naruto stuck his hand out to Mikao, which Mikao took gladly and was pulled up. Well, first it was Natsu, then me, then Natsu when he finished you, Naruto replied to his friend. Damn, I'm weak. I managed to take down 19 Vulcans, but that last one took me down, Mikao said aloud. His disappointment showed clearly in his eyes. What do you mean you're weak? You managed to take out all those monsters which for any other person would have been overwhelming, Natsu said to Mikao. He managed to take out 19 of those things. Lucy thought to herself in awe. You're right, Natsu. I guess I really did do well, Mikao said to them. Just make sure when you tell Romeo that you leave out the part of you becoming a giant white ape, Naruto piped in. At that everyone laughed. A few hours later, Romeo sat upon the steps waiting for the others to return. Hey Romeo! A voice cried out. Romeo looked up to see Natsu supporting his father. Romeo took off running towards the group. Dad! Romeo cried out as he tackled his father. Both fell to the ground with Romeo crying on his father's chest. I'm sorry, Dad. I shouldn't have listened to those other kids, Romeo said to his father. Son, if any kid says that being a wizard is bad, then ask them if any of their dads managed to defeat 19 Vulcans, Mikao said to his son. The group smiled at this tender moment. They started to walk away from the father and son and towards their respective homes. Hey guys. The quartet stopped, and all of them turned around. Thank you guys for everything, Romeo said, waving to all of them. All of them waved before walking away once again. Well, that was a fun adventure. See you at the guild tomorrow, Lucy, Naruto said before he disappeared into a poof of white smoke. Yes, see ya, Luce, Natsu said before running back towards his home. Aye, sir, was Happy's reply before he flew to after Natsu. Lucy laughed. Today was probably the best day in my whole life. I love fairy tale, Lucy thought before walking towards her apartment. In an unknown location, a cloaked man in black stood before another cloaked figure in red. Master, when can I proceed with the plan? The others are becoming restless, the man asked. We shall begin in 2 months. I need to gather the rest of my supplies. You have the seals ready? The man hissed out. Yes, my lord, the man replied. Good, they won't know what hit them, the red-cloaked man said. His eyes glowed a malicious golden hue. Soon I won't even need to rely on fools like him, the man thought. Chapter 10 Mansions, Missions, and Monsters. An old woman lay dying in her bed. She had gray hair with a slight remaining pink hue that lay spread out on her pillow. Her eyes were a pale green. On her forehead was a faded purple rhombus. So, you came to see a withering crone in her final moments, the woman said and croaked out in a scratchy voice. She then started hacking up a slight amount of blood. The person standing by her beside kneeled beside the bed and took her hand in his own. I would come and see you even if you were the ugliest woman in the world, the man before her said with a sad smile on his face. His hand was immediately crushed by the woman. This vanished as soon as it came and the woman was breathing heavily. You should have learned to never insult a lady, the woman said with a smile on her face. The man grimaced at this. Why yeah, you're right, Sakura, the man said nervously to the woman. You were always so dense, Naruto. The woman cackled. So how is Igneel? The woman asked. Oh, he's been a good son. He's grown really big. Soon he'll be big as Kurama was, Naruto replied. That is good. You really turned out to be a good parent. You might be better at it than having been a ninja, Sakura said with a slight smile on her face. Her face turned into a grimace, and she once again started hacking up blood. Naruto's eyes widened at this. Sakura, are you okay? Naruto shouted and stood up from his seat. Sakura grabbed Naruto's hand and dragged him back down into his crouching position. Relax, it's my time. Before I go, I have one thing to say to you. Don't reject humanity. Make new friends, but remember your old ones, Sakura said while pausing after every few words to deeply inhale. Sakura, you don't know what it's like to watch them all die. I saw all of our friends die one by one. I don't want to lose my last friend left, Naruto said to Sakura. His bangs hid his eyes from view. Goodbye, I'll tell all the others about you on the other side, Sakura said before inhaling one last breath while she exhaled deeply. Her eyes slowly closed while her hand became limp within Naruto's grip. Naruto felt the release of Sakura's grip. Sakura, wake up. I don't want to be alone. Naruto's shoulders started shaking. Please wake up, please. Naruto then let out a slight sob, which was shortly after followed by another. He laid his head down over Sakura's bed and cried. His hand was still holding onto Sakura's limp hand. He stayed in this position for the next few hours. Naruto got up from his position and looked down at how his hand still held Sakura's. With great difficulty he let go of Sakura's hand and placed it across her chest. He took her other hand and placed it over the hand on her chest. Naruto turned around. Behind him floated multiple black orbs. One of the orbs flew at the door and blasted it open. Naruto walked through the opening and into the moonlit night. He walked into the woods nearby the house and collapsed onto his knees. Nuh! Naruto screamed before his form started to shift and grow. Naruto woke up from his bed. They just keep getting worse, Naruto said to himself before he jumped out of his bed. He walked over to the chair in his room where his white cloak was thrown on and put it on over his black shirt and gray pants. He looked up to the photos on the shelf in his room, then trudged out. In the hallway, Naruto walked over to the room next to his. Naruto peeked his head inside to see a messy room. There were clothes all over the floor, scorch marks on the walls, ceiling and floors, and there were bookshelves containing objects from previous adventures that Natsu went on. In the middle of all of the clutter was a tree that grew from the floor with a hammock attached from both it and the wall. The hammock was empty. That's strange. He's usually still asleep by now, Naruto thought to himself. Naruto walked away from the room and went to a room that was next door to it. Inside was a clean room that was a complete opposite to Natsu's clutter. The room was lined with bookshelves that contained a myriad of books. All of them were different shapes, colors, and genres, but 3 stood out from all the rest. Each had the title Ika Ika to them. So that's where they went, Naruto mused to himself. Around the room in glass cases were multiple sets of armors. Each of them came in different styles that were interesting to say the least. At the end of the room was a bed with clean white sheets. She still isn't back yet. Wonder what's taking so long, Naruto thought as he walked off towards the kitchen. What surprised Naruto upon entering the kitchen was a note left on the table. Naruto walked over to the table and picked the note up. Gramps, me happy, and if I can convince Lucy we'll be going out on a mission. I'll see you later. Well, that clears things up. Naruto went to the fridge and grabbed a bottle of beer, and then he walked out the door. When he got outside, Naruto walked down the well-worn dirt path leading from his house to the town. Naruto passed all the natural life surrounding him. Unknown to others, Naruto felt a massive feeling of peace whenever he walked into environments filled with a rich amount of life. As Naruto finally reached the sign of Magnolia, he saw a black-clad stranger pass him wearing a hood. Well, that person is certainly wearing odd clothing, Naruto thought to himself. He turned around to see the person's back, which chilled him to the core. On it was a red cloud. Naruto blinked for a moment, and the figure was gone. What the hell is happening? Naruto questioned himself. He started his walking towards the town with a less enthusiastic walk due to most of his attention diverted to figuring out what he just saw. As Naruto reached the guild hall, he raised his right hand, which caused both doors to open. The members inside were at the moment quite lively this morning. There were quite a few tables filled with members chatting about, as well as those who were at the request board and the others who were drinking at the bar. Makarov sat from his perch on the wooden railing of the second floor of the guild. The minute Naruto came in, Makarov could see something wrong. Naruto, who usually was always smiling in the morning, instead had his face marred with a frown. His usual gait, which was strong and proud, was instead unsteady and uncertain. There were multiple other quirks that Makarov noticed upon Naruto's entrance, but he ignored them for the problem at hand. Something was wrong. Naruto, as he entered, headed straight towards the bar and sat down upon the well-worn seat of his stool. Next to him sat Kana, who as normal was drinking a giant barrel of booze. After taking a massive chug, Kana set the barrel down next to herself and looked at Naruto. How are you doing today, Naruto? You kinda look like shit, old man, Kana stated to Naruto. Naruto, hearing this question, lifted his head up and looked at the young woman. He put on a large smile. Oh, I'm doing fine, Kana. Really, there is nothing to worry about. Naruto rubbed the back of his head during this until Mira set a mug of beer onto the counter. He turned away from Kana and began drinking. I can tell that's a lie, old man. If you were okay, you'd be yelling at me for calling you old, Kana replied to Naruto with a serious tone of voice. Naruto just set his glass down. You caught me, Kana. There has been something on my mind, but you don't need to know, Naruto said back to her. You know, you shouldn't bury everything inside you. You do have friends here, Kana replied to Naruto before getting up from her stool and walking away while carrying a massive barrel under her arm. Naruto got up from his stool in order to leave. When he turned around, there standing before him was Makarov. Naruto, come up to my office, Makarov ordered. Naruto just sighed as he followed the guild master. Up in the office, Makarov and Naruto sat in chairs divided by a desk between them. Makarov put on a serious face and looked at Naruto. Naruto, what happened? I know there is something bothering you, especially today, Makarov asked Naruto. Makarov, I've never been very forward with my past, but today I'm going to tell you why I'm troubled today. Naruto took a deep breath inward before staring back into Makarov's eyes with his rippled one. Many years ago there was an organization known as Akatsuki. They had but one goal, and that was to collect 9 separate entities known as the Tailed Beasts in order to form a weapon of mass destruction. Naruto sighed but continued with his story. His voice showed anger at this. When they went on missions to capture Tailed Beasts, it didn't matter who was in the way of their goal. Many of my friends died because of them. Naruto grabbed a piece of paper and a pen from Makarov's desk and started drawing. Naruto, how were you related to all of this? Makarov asked. Naruto put the pen down and looked up from his drawing. I put the Akatsuki down years ago. During that time I had something that they wanted, they probably still want it now, Naruto replied. Makarov's eyes widened at this. Akatsuki members wore a black cloak which would have a red cloud on them. Today as I was walking here, I passed a person who wore a cloak with this symbol. Naruto passed the picture over to Makarov and got up from his seat. Makarov, I have one request about all of the information I've told you today. What is it that you want, Naruto? Makarov asked. Don't tell Natsu or Erza. I don't want them to worry. Why? If these people hunted you once, they'll do it again. Wouldn't it be better if you had help? Makarov asked Naruto. Makarov, I don't need help against these punks. What I need is to not have the grandkids worrying about me, Naruto said to Makarov. Naruto turned around and started walking out of the office. Naruto, just so you know, the guild will always be there if you need help, Makarov said, dismissing Naruto. At a cafe, a young woman sat eating a piece of strawberry cake. Next to her was a massive horn with decorations covering it. Next to the horn was a massive trolley of luggage. The woman who sat there wore a breastplate with the heart crust symbol on the front with a matching set of gauntlets. She also wore a blue skirt and black boots. What distinguished her from many other patrons of the establishment was her scarlet hair that went down to her mid-back. Her brown eyes were at the moment concentrating on the delicious piece of cake that lay before her. As she ate her cake, she couldn't help but overhear conversations that were happening around herself. One in particular caught her attention. Alright, have you finished with breaking the seal on Lullaby? A gruff voice asked. No, not yet, but I am close. A smoother voice replied. Good, soon we'll teach all of them a lesson they'll never forget. We'll meet you at the train station in 2 days. Be ready with Lullaby. A nasally voice said. Erza then heard all the men's chairs shift as they were getting up. I better look into this. I'm going to need help though, this could be going over my head. The redhead thought to herself as she took a bite of cake. After she finished eating her cake, she got up from her table and placed her money down. She then proceeded to lift the massive horn next to her and grab the rope of her trolley in order to leave. Around her everyone was just staring at her in both awe and fear. How the hell is she lifting that thing? One of the servers thought as he and another server were playing rock paper scissors in order to decide who would go near the table to clean it. Thank you for the cake. It was quite delicious. I may come back here again to have more, one day, Erza stated before she walked away. Behind her the servers were internally crying while the owner was smiling with glee. Thoughts of money from the great Titania clouded his head. Erza on the other hand was mentally deciding who she would pick to go with her on her mission. Wakaba is out. The smoker would probably cough his lungs out by the time we got there. Elfman, no, just no. Natsu is for certain. Now who could I pair up with him? Erza pondered this before an idea lit in her head. I know, I'll force Gray to come with us. I may have to smash Natsu's head in to get him and Gray to work together, but it'll be for the best. Now if only I could ask Natsu on a date, Erza thought to herself off topic. Meanwhile with Natsu, Lucy, and Happy. Oh my god, leave me alone you pervy old midget. Lucy screamed at the top of her lungs as she was chased by the corrupt Duke Everlu, who was a tiny fat man who had brown hair that was combed over, a mustache that was growing from his nose, and a head that all around was shaped like a potato. The Duke was currently chasing Lucy by, oddly enough, using magic to apparently swim in the stone that made up the tunnel that by mages were in. I won't leave you alone until you tell me the secret of the book. The man cried out as he chased Lucy. I will never tell anything to a horrible man like you, Lucy retorted until Everlu came up from the ground and pinned her wrist to her back. You better tell me now or I'll break your arm. Everlu then started pushing Lucy's arm up in order to prove his point. Lucy screamed in pain at this until, take this. Happy cried out before flying into Everlu's back, which knocked him away from Lucy. Thanks, Happy, Lucy said in gratitude before taking a golden key out of its holster. Alright, I'm gonna make you pay for doing that, Lucy threatened Everlu. That book was never yours to begin with. Open gate of the giant crab, Cancer. A golden light then materialized and formed a man in a blue pinstriped shirt, black pants, crab legs that sprouted from his back, yellow-tinted sunglasses and black hair with red braids running throughout it. In both of his hands he carried a pair of scissors. Cancer, the crab man said. Awesome, can I eat him? Happy asked. No, now shut up, Lucy replied back. So baby, would you like your hair done today? The crab man asked. Happy just looked shocked at this. I don't need styling, I need help, Lucy replied looking embarrassed. It's that guy, take care of Baldy over there, Lucy commanded while pointing towards Everlu. Whatever you say, baby, the crab man replied. Great, you can style his already almost non-existent hair. Nice job, Lucy, you should send him back. Happy stated to Lucy. I'll send you back, you stupid blue cat. Lucy retorted, scathing. Happy replied. Meanwhile, Duke Everlew was deep in thought. What could that secret possibly be? The Duke thought to himself. Screw it, kill them now, deal with the penalties later, the Duke concluded to himself. He then pulled out a gold key. Open gate of the maiden, Virgo. Out from the ground popped a very large and fat maid with purple hair. Did someone summon me? She asked in a horrifyingly deep baritone. Virgo, fetch me that book. The Duke commanded. Wait, she's a celestial spirit. Lucy shouted out in shock. That was until all people in the room saw Natsu on Virgo's shoulder. Natsu! Both Happy and Lucy cried out together. What is the meaning of this? The Duke asked Virgo in confusion. What are you doing up there? Lucy asked. Well, I saw he get up off the ground, so I jumped on her. After that everything went really trippy. Natsu replied. So you grabbed her and went to the celestial spirit realm with her? How is that even possible? Humans can't survive there. Lucy shouted out. Hell if I know. I just don't want to go back there. It was weird. Natsu rubbed the back of his head. Natsu, just take care of Virgo already. Lucy said as she sighed to herself. Virgo, kill them all. The Duke cried out. As you wish, master. Was Virgo's reply. Natsu on the other hand punched his fists together, which created a magic seal. Eat flames, fire, dragon, roar. Natsu cried out as his cheeks bulged with fire, which he then spewed out at Virgo. Lucy on the other hand wrapped her whip around Everlew and threw him towards Cancer. Cancer used his scissors to cut off all of Everlew's hair. How does it look, baby? Cancer asked. Nice job, Crab Man. Natsu complimented Cancer. All around the group, the sound of rumbling was heard by all. Lucy, we need to get out of here, Natsu cried out as he formed a Rasengan in his hand and creating a tunnel towards the surface. Outside the mansion, Natsu, Happy, and Lucy all watched as the mansion collapsed upon itself. Nice job, Lucy, you'll definitely fit in at fairy tale, Natsu complimented Lucy as he patted her on the back. I hope I don't get blamed for this, Lucy said sourly to herself. Later, after dropping the book off to their client, who happened to be the author of the book's son, combined with the fact that Lucy learned that their client didn't have any money, the trio decided to start heading back towards Magnolia. On their trek home, Lucy was sitting inside her celestial spirit horologium, who was a spirit that looked like a grandfather clock with arms, legs and a face. Why don't you do your own walking? Natsu asked. I'm tired, she said. The clock said to Natsu due to the fact that no one could hear her within the clock spirit. Yeah, well, Natsu sniffed the air and looked at a bush. He then proceeded to do what any sane man would do, jump at the bush. Who's there? Natsu asked mid-jump. Why do you always have to fight? She asked. The clock spirit asked. You can take him, Natsu. Happy cheered on. Out of the bushes popped Natsu and Gray, who was in his underwear. It's Gray, Happy stated. What's he doing there? She asked. The clock spirit said. I was trying to find a bathroom. Gray replied. Why would you strip down before you found one? Natsu retorted to Gray. Wait, Gray looked down to see himself in just his underwear. Shit. Every damn time, both Gray and Natsu started getting into an argument, much to Lucy's chagrin. Why are those two fighting? Lucy asked. Oh, just sit back and watch, Lucy. Happy replied while eating popcorn. Lucy turned to look at Happy but saw the popcorn. Where the hell did you get popcorn? Lucy asked. I've been starving since we've been walking. It was in a seal the Naruto made. You know, if you wanted food, you could have just asked, except if it was fish, then I wouldn't even let you have a bite. Fish. Happy started babbling incessantly about fish at this point. Why am I surrounded by idiots? Lucy asked herself. So you're on your way back from a job? Lucy stated. Yeah, I was going through these woods due to a shortcut back to Magnolia. Gray replied, now wearing black pants and blue shirt that was covered by a white button-up shirt. Well, how about you go now, Gray? We'll see you later at the guild. Natsu said to Gray while leaning on a rock. Gray got up off the ground. Fine, I will, and unless you want trouble you should too. Why do you say that? Lucy asked Gray. It's because Erza is coming back, Gray replied. Natsu's eyes widened at this. Erza is coming back, this is great, Natsu shouted out. Gray smiled at Natsu. Yeah, you would be happy with her coming home. Especially with your little crush on that redhead, Gray said to Natsu. Natsu's face turned a bright red at this remark. Why, you just shut up, Snowball, Natsu rebutted. Wait, Natsu has a crush on the Erza of Fairy Tail? Lucy asked Gray with a mischievous smile upon her face. Oh yeah. The flaming brick here is too scared to even ask her on a date, not that he hasn't tried, of course. Gray replied to Lucy enthusiastically. I didn't ask her for a date since I had other things to do, Gray. Natsu replied to Gray. Like what? Training that you already did, a mission that didn't exist? Please tell me more. Gray mockingly told Natsu. So what is Erza like? Lucy asked. Scary, all three males replied. Lucy just sat in her spot, terrified at the prospect of what the three wizards said. Isn't there anyone who isn't afraid of her? Lucy asked. The only two men who could probably deal with an enraged Erza without pissing themselves would be the Master and Naruto. Even then, they are still terrified of her, especially Naruto. Gray replied back to Lucy, "Yeah, I'm still terrified of her, even after living with her for years." Natsu said to Lucy, "Regardless of that, you still need to at least try to not act like a pansy around her." Nat Gray was then cut off as an explosion hit all of them. Natsu was the first to recover. "Where's Happy?" he asked. Meanwhile, at a campsite near the recently exploded cliff, Happy was tied up to a pole above a fire. "Somebody help me," Happy said unhappily. "We're finally gonna get some real food." One of the men said, "Hey, don't be so scared. Soon you'll be in our bellies." A gray-skinned man wearing green clothes said, "Stop shaking, you're gonna be eaten by us anyway." One of the men stated. Happy kept on quivering regardless. "I'm not shaking because I'm scared, I'm shaking because I need to go to the bathroom. I might not be able to hold it in. If that happens it'll make me taste weird, I'm sure," Happy said in an effort to not be eaten. The short gray-skinned man ignored what Happy said. "Shut up. Do it," the man commanded to his comrade, who was completely round, had yellow skin and red hair as well as blue overalls on. "Meat," the man said in a high-pitched voice unbefitting of his size. The man then took out a large staff. He created a magic seal on the top of the staff which lit the area on fire, much to Happy's horror. "Are you sure you want to do this? I'll taste weird," Happy said in an effort to stave off the fire on the man's staff. "Wait right there," Gray shouted out from atop a cliff. Next to him stood Lucy and an enraged Natsu. "Happy!" Lucy cried out. "I'll taste terrible," Happy shouted out. The gray-skinned man frowned at this. "You're still going on about that?" he asked in an annoyed tone. "You've got our friend there, bub. I think you should let him go before I get really mad. You may be hungry, but we can't let you eat him," Natsu said while cracking his knuckles. "You're all wizards, right?" "From what guild?" Gray asked. The gray-skinned man grinned. "None of your business, you maggots," he replied. "Get them," he ordered, which his men complied to as they rushed at the trio. "Gray, let's kick their asses and go home," Natsu said to Gray. "Don't order me around. I already was thinking that," Gray replied stoically. "Whatever, ice skater," was Natsu's response. Both Natsu and Gray jumped down from the cliff at their opponents. Natsu landed a direct blow to one of the thugs' faces while Gray, with his hands in his pockets, flipped out of the way of his opponent. Gray flipped and smashed the back of his heel upon a thug's head, knocking him out. "Take this," the gray man cried out as he smashed his fist into the ground, creating a yellow magic circle. "Sand bomb." Sand then spun from outside the magic circle and encased Natsu. "Oh no, Natsu!" Lucy yelled. "He can take care of himself. Let's deal with these guys for now," Gray said in order to alleviate Lucy's fears. Gray proceeded to jump off the ground at a pair of identical twins who were wielding knives. Gray punched the knife out of the hand of the first twin that fell at him while kneeing him in the stomach. The second twin fell at Gray. Gray in turn kicked the knife out the twin's hand and lifted his leg above the man's head, and then he dropped it at the back of his neck, making smash to the ground. Lucy, on the other hand, was busy untying Happy. "They're gonna eat me," Happy shouted out. "Shut up, you stupid cat!" She was her response to the whining cat. A shadow was casted over her which made her turn in surprise to see the yellow-skinned man with his magic staff. "Meat!" the yellow man screamed. Lucy was about to freak out until Gray jumped in with a dynamic entry and smashed the man in the face, causing him to fall down. Lucy and Happy ran away from this. "Who's next?" was Gray's reply. To his surprise, his challenge was accepted by a dark-haired man in a purple shirt, black pants with metal knee coverings, and black boots. In his hands was a purple orb which glowed maliciously. Gray's sweat dropped at what happened next. "The stars point to troubles with water and women," the man said to Gray. "Fortune-telling, really?" Gray asked. "Chicks dig the crystal ball," was the man's response. Gray rushed at the man and chopped him the side of the neck, knocking him out. "He doesn't even need to use magic, wow," Lucy said to herself until she saw that Gray was in his underwear. "Gray, your clothes," Lucy stated. Gray looked down at himself and screamed out in surprise. "What the hell is that guy?" The gray man thought to himself. Unknown to him, his sand sphere was becoming coated in flames until it exploded and shards of superheated glass fell to the ground as Natsu charged at the man with a Rasengan in hand. "This is for putting me in the ball," Natsu screamed as he shoved his Rasengan in the man's stomach, which launched him at a tree. Natsu walked over to the others with a smile on his face. "Well, that takes care of those guys." Later, after they tied the thugs up to a tree, Natsu and Gray were arguing once again. "Natsu, your flames were pretty pathetic. I mean, you got trapped in a ball of sand. How will you ever live that down?" Gray asked. "At least I don't take my clothes off in the middle of a battle." "You are such a stripper," Natsu replied. "Flamehead," Gray said back. "Ice princess." Natsu and Gray were butting heads at this point. "At least I can talk to girls without shitting myself. That's if anyone can stand your boring personality." Meanwhile, Lucy was questioning the thugs. "Lula," the gray-skinned man tried to say. "Huh?" Lucy wondered. "The Lullaby," the man said. Both Gray and Natsu stopped fighting after receiving this information. Lullaby? What does that mean? Gray asked. Unseen to the group, shadow stretched across the ground until it knocked the entire group off their feet. The gray-skinned man looked in absolute terror at what was coming for him. A hand made of shadow surrounded the thugs who were tied up. It grabbed all of them as well as the tree and pulled it beneath the earth, killing all of the thugs. What was that? Lucy asked. Who the fuck is that? Natsu asked. I can't sense them anymore. Gray responded as he rubbed his head. It's somebody crazy fast though. Damn it. I don't get any of this at all. Natsu exclaimed. Lullaby. Lucy said solemnly. Eventually after that encounter, the group finally made it back to Magnolia and stood before the guild. Natsu in his usual burst of energy kicked the doors open. We're back, he shouted. Lucy, happy, and Gray just stood back. Does he always do that? Lucy whispered to Gray. No, it used to be worse. Gray whispered back to her. How could it have been worse? Lucy asked. He used to use his Rasengan on the door instead. You wouldn't believe how many splinters people got inside the guild from that stunt. Gray replied. Natsu on the other hand walked over to Naruto who had a bowl of ramen next to him. Hey Gramps, I'm back from the mission, Natsu said to Naruto as he sat down and grabbed the bowl which he proceeded to eat from. How was it? Naruto asked. Oh, it was great. I got to fight these two guys who tried to act all tough until I shoved a Rasengan up their asses. Then I fought this really fat maid. Other than that, it was a day well spent, was Natsu's reply. Naruto grinned at this. Hey Mira! Naruto shouted for the barmaid. Mira soon enough appeared with a grin on her face. What would you like, Naruto? She asked. Could you get me a piece of strawberry cake? He asked. Mira's eyes widened at this. Right away, Naruto. She replied as she went to grab a piece of cake. She came back with a piece of cake on a plate and set it before a stool next to Naruto. Meanwhile, Lucy was busy looking at the request board. Dispel magic on a cursed bracelet. Save a princess. Help ship in 1,000 cups of ramen. Wait, what? There are so many things that I could do. Lucy said to herself. If one suits your fancy, just tell me. Mira said to Lucy, breaking her out of thought. Master right now is off at a regular meeting. Regular meeting? Lucy asked. All the guild masters in the area get together and give one another regular reports. Mira then placed a finger on her cheek in a thoughtful pose. It's different than council meets though. Mira turned to Ritas who was sitting on a stool at the bar. Could I borrow a light pen? She asked. Ritas nodded and handed her one. Mira then drew in the air many different boxes that stacked on top of one another. The people who are on top of the magic world are the 10 magic council members who are connected with the government. They bring order to everything of the world of magic. Below them are the guild master leagues that order the guilds. It allows for both communications and unity among the guilds. It's a tough job. Mira finished. I never knew guilds were so connected like that. Lucy replied. Keeping guild alliances is very important. Mira stated to Lucy. If we're not careful then, she was cut off as Natsu jumped in front of her. Then those dark guys come in, he said in an evil voice. Lucy felt a shiver go down her spine at this statement. Natsu started laughing. I totally got ya on that on. He was unable to finish as Naruto appeared behind Natsu in a puff of smoke and punched him into the ground. What did I say about terrifying new members? Naruto asked. Not to do it until 3 months that they're here. Natsu mumbled while embedded into the floorboards. It's true though. Mira said to Lucy. Those dark guys are actually known as dark guilds. They aren't part of the guild league due to illegal activities that they conducted, Mira explained. Taking out dark guilds composes most of the missions I do these days. Naruto said to Lucy before he walked back towards his stool. Natsu eventually pulled himself from the ground. Pick a job already, Lucy. Natsu said to her. Who are you to tell me what to choose? Lucy asked with her hands on her hips. Well, we are a team. We also picked the last job, so it's your turn now, was Natsu's response. Really? Lucy said with a smile on her face. Yeah. It's composed right now of me, you, Happy, and Gramps. Natsu replied to Lucy with his head being cradled between his hands. So why didn't Naruto come with us on our mission? Lucy asked. It's because Gramps only comes on missions that are usually really hard. Otherwise he wants me to do them without his help, was Natsu's reply. But what about how you made me dress up as a maid? Lucy asked sternly. I just needed your help, was Natsu's reply. Okay, but next time tell me before you make me do something I'll regret, was Lucy's response. You should be happy that you're just having to choose one mission right now, Lucy. Those missions eventually pile up till there are more than you can stomach, Gray said from a table with Kana sitting across from him drinking a mug. Kana stopped drinking from her mug for a moment. Gray, your clothes, she stated. Gray looked down and freaked out. Shut up, Gray, Natsu ordered. Gray in turn glared at Natsu. He got out of his seat and walked up to Natsu until his forehead was pushing against Natsu's. Did you just tell me to shut up, you failed firework? Gray angrily stated. Yeah, Frosty the Snowman, Natsu replied back while pushing at Gray's forehead with his own. Both of the mages started trading insults back and forth. Happy sat next to Naruto as they watched what would happen next. I bet that they're gonna break out into a brawl, Happy said to Naruto. Naruto shook his head at this. No, you'll see in 3, 2, and 1. The guild doors slammed open and an out-of-breath Loki rushed in. Everyone, we've got trouble! Erza's back in town! He shouted. Everyone's eyes widened at this and the guild started rushing to clean up their messes. Natsu and Gray stopped their argument and looked at one another in fear. Erza Natsu mentioned her before as well as a few other things. Lucy said to Mira. Mira, unfazed by the recent events, was smiling like always. I think that we can definitely call her the strongest female in the guild at the moment. Mira stated to Lucy. Within the guild everyone could hear a loud stomping. It's Erza. A purple-haired girl with glasses named Loki stated. That's Erza's footsteps. Wakaba said in fear. Wakaba, hide your pipe. Naruto said. Wakaba did the smart thing and put the tobacco out, and then he hid the pipe in his hair. Erza's coming back. Mikao said in terror. Lucy watched all of the members of the guild become terrified. With this type of reaction, Erza must be a really amazing wizard. Lucy said to herself. Finally, a silhouette of a woman carrying something large was seen in the guild entrance. Erza entered the guild and set the horn that she was carrying down onto the ground with a great thump. I have returned. Erza said to the guild. What if Naruto was the father of Dragon's fairy tale? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoyed this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel. And leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.